You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2672, Chapter 2672, Chapter 570. The situation is complicated too. Chapter 2672, Chapter 570. The situation is complicated too. As for Xingyue, let her pester the minister of the Sky Division first to confuse the Heavenly Abyss tribe. Now, the other party might already be suspicious, but he too didn't sign an alliance with them, so he didn't want Xingyue to do anything else. Moreover, she was absorbing a large amount of death aura now, so Xingyue was actually powerless. He too's expression changed again and again. Resurrect. He had a complicated look in his eyes. Resurrect me. Can Suyu do it? Maybe he can. It was very dangerous. He had tried it before. Of course, the result was not good. He had destroyed his own reincarnator. However, he too firmly believed that there was hope. There was a great chance. Because he was the person involved. He knew all of this, so, he believed it. He did not know that Suyu could reverse the situation. Now that he thought about it again, he finally understood that Suyu could. Otherwise, he would not have hidden it so thoroughly. Buzz. The void trembled. The undead behind him was about to charge over. Suyu had already prepared himself to take out the fruit of life and death at any time. Suddenly, he too appeared. The powerful he too instantly appeared in front of the undead and said coldly, "Fu Lai, this is my man." Yes, his people. At this moment, Suyu heaved a sigh of relief. He hoped that he could confuse the Heavenly Abyss tribe and mislead them. In fact, Xingyu and the others had attacked because of he too. It was not because of Xingyu. Otherwise, if Xingyu was exposed and they were prepared to deal with the Heavenly Abyss tribe, it would be difficult to deal with them. And the appearance of he too was the best solution. This was because he too had killed his way from the first level to the 7th level with Suyu, while Star Moon had appeared from the Gate of the Dead Souls. No one would have thought that Star Moon would cross thousands of mountains and rivers from the ancient city of Hongqing to look for Suyu. And in the distance, Star Moon's mood fluctuated. As expected. As expected. Suyu, scoundrel. He had betrayed me, and he had really hooked up with he too. As expected, he felt that my strength was not as strong as he too's, and he had actually hooked up with he Tuesday. The dead souls would not negotiate any conditions. Because, no matter how good your treasure was, it would not be of much use to them. Killing was their favorite. But now, Suyu had used resurrection to convince he too. Because they were the same kind of people. Opening 360 yuan apertures and learning the method to reverse the yuan apertures, to he too, no one understood better than him that Suyu could really resurrect the dead souls, even if there were countless accidents and dangers. Suyu couldn't die. If he died, no one in the world could revive the dead souls. At the very least, he couldn't find a second guy who had opened 360 yuan aperture. Even if he had opened 360 yuan aperture, he might not necessarily know the origin aperture reversal technique. As for he too himself, he was dead, so he couldn't teach him anymore. He tli. The excited dead soul was suddenly stunned. He wasn't as strong as he too, and he too was very strong. He was surprised and angry. He too, you. You stopped me. L came by the rules, and you stopped me. He came by the rules, and he too actually stopped him. He too said coldly, "Get lost." You killed him, and now you came by the rules. I won't do anything to you. When you return to the dead soul realm, I will definitely kill you in your dead soul kingdom, kill you, and make you sink forever. Violating the rules is just a small punishment. Violating me, you just wait to die. Silence. The sovereign of the dead soul was sullen, angry, and so angry that he wanted to kill he too. However, he knew that he wasn't a match for he too. He didn't care that living beings were invincible. At worst, he could just give up the mission and run away. However, the sovereign of the dead soul wanted to protect Suyu, so he didn't dare to kill him forcefully. Otherwise, once he too killed his way back, he too would have a foundation in the dead soul realm, and he would have many allies. At this moment, everyone came to a realization. That's right, he too. From the start, there were people who said that he too had a general under him. Some people had guessed that it was Suyu, but now, it was confirmed. As expected, he too's appearance was related to Suyu from the start. These two B** stars had hooked up a long time ago. B** starred. At this moment, everyone understood, including the great Qin king. He didn't think about Xingyu, but he too. In their eyes, Xingyu was a local undead sovereign. Only he too and that blockhead had appeared from the start. Now, Suyu had confirmed this point. He too berated Fu Lai and turned to look at Suyu. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said telepathically, "Suyu, you killed my vengeful spirit last time. This time, you owe me again." Suyu cupped his hands and said telepathically, "I have nothing to report. Once I step into the invincible realm, I will transform for you. However, I can't guarantee that I will succeed. You are too strong. When you are close to the immortal soul 3rd level, I might not be able to transform successfully." He too fell into deep thought. At this moment, Fu Lai, who was behind him, was also extremely furious. He wanted to kill this fellow whose back was facing him. He wanted to kill him. However, could he kill him? Fu Lai was extremely furious. As for the others who were invincible, they were all aggrieved. At this moment, a group of people were crazily attacking the great Qin king. The Blood Fire Demon King said faintly, "He too, you protect living beings and become enemies with the rules. Be careful not to be punished by the rules." The rules. The most terrifying thing in the myriad worlds was the rules. He too couldn't be bothered with them. At this moment, he also looked at the great Qin king. The great Qin king didn't say anything. Seeing that Suyu was fine, his long spear swept out in all directions once again. It was incomparably powerful. Even though he was heavily injured, he still beat those undefeatable beings until they didn't dare to go forward. These undefeatable beings also continuously lightly injured him. Once the great Qin king killed someone, the rest would attack with all their strength. After a few times, the great Qin king's injuries were even more serious. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2673, Chapter 2673, Chapter 570. Situation was complicated 3. Chapter 2673, Chapter 570. Situation was complicated 3. On the other side, Blue Sky was also killing the heavenly curse as it retreated. Xia Longwu and the others also had an advantage. However, this wasn't the key. It wouldn't be easy for these people to win. The great Qin king's side was the key. Suyu took advantage of He2's presence to look at the head of the Sky Division and said in a deep voice, "Head, the 9-leaf Sky Lotus is yours. We don't want it anymore. If you want it, just take it. What do you think?" The head of the Sky Division was silent. Suyu said in a deep voice, "What do you want, head? A vessel? Or something else? Name a few. If you can do it, I will naturally satisfy you. The heaven hunting pavilion may be strong. But you have to think it through. Do you really want to help the 10,000 races suppress the humans?" The head of the Sky Division was silent for a moment. After a long while, he said, "Don't want much. The Time Master inheritance." Suyu smiled. "You must be joking, head." "I'm not joking. The head of the Sky Division said calmly, "It's not that I want it, but, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion needs it. The Heaven Overseeing Marquis needs it. Su Yu, the reason why I invited you in previously was for this. Hand over the Time Master inheritance, and today, I will help the human race deal with the blood fire. This is a promise. L won't take it for free. Equal exchange is also the principle of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. What if I say no or refuse?" The head of the Sky Division was still calm. "I will only do what I should do. Whether you humans win or they win, you have to pay the price if you want to kill me. Then if you stop them now, you are making an enemy of me and the human race." The head of the Sky Division was still calm. "No, this isn't making an enemy out of the human race. Living beings have their own rules, and the undead have their own rules. Actually, I'm just following this rule." Su Yu didn't say anything else. "I'll remember it." Although the Heaven Hunting Pavilion didn't attack the Great Qin King, this person who stopped the undead from killing the immortals was either an immortal, the possibility wasn't very high, or the Heaven Hunting Pavilion didn't want the human race to be the dominant race. Perhaps it was for the nine-leafed Sky Lotus, or perhaps it was for the Time Master inheritance. He didn't make a move against him. Was it because he was worried or something else? Su Yu sent a voice transmission to He too, "If you work together with Xingyue and the others, can you kill this guy?" He too sent a cold voice transmission, "You think too much. I won't help you. One will only protect you a little. You have to do what you promised me. Otherwise, if you become a dead spirit, I will go to the dead spirit Sky River and kill you. You want to use me to deal with others? Impossible. Don't dead spirits want to kill? Even so, I won't be used by you. Su Yu, I used this trick of yours 100,000 years ago. Alright, I met an old senior." At this moment, Su Yu's body trembled slightly. The 3 transformations were barely completed, but the transformation still needed some time. As expected, killing an invincible person was extremely beneficial. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Moreover, the transformation required time and wasn't stable enough. But at this moment, the Great Qin King was becoming more and more difficult. With a poochie sound, a godly king pierced through the Great Qin King's chest. Meanwhile, the Great Qin King's long spear had already been broken. Half of the long spear was used as an iron rod. As it slashed out, it shattered the godly king's 3 incarnations. However, the other party didn't die, and one of the 3 incarnations died. The other party quickly fled and escaped to the outer area, but he was delighted. The Great Qin King's 3 incarnations had been beaten until they were on the verge of disintegrating. Once the 3 incarnations appeared, even if the Great Qin King's 3 incarnations were incomparably powerful, and one of them was comparable to a 7th or even 8th stage Eternal Realm expert, it would be useless. Very soon, they would be surrounded and killed. This was also the date of the Great Qin King's death. In the distance, Xia Longwu roared as he slashed out with his saber once again, causing the heavens and earth to shatter. With a poochie sound, the head of his opponent exploded. However, his body was also blasted apart by his opponent's punch. Xia Longwu went crazy as he roared once more. With a punch, a divine rune exploded, causing his opponent to be dazed for an instant. With a poochie sound, his opponent's body exploded once again. As for himself, his body also exploded as a vessel dropped. One body for 2 bodies. At this moment, he and Qinzhen charged towards the immortal king who only had 1 avatar left. The other 2 places were also turned upside down, and blood splattered in all directions. Very fierce. But it was useless. He couldn't be killed in a short period of time. As for Su Yu, he no longer said anything. He swallowed another drop of quasi-invincible essence blood and punched out into the distance. Heavenly Curse. He had to kill Heavenly Curse first. Just as he punched out, a figure appeared in front of him, and an incomparably powerful figure appeared. Out of the 10,000 races, 3 of them had not participated in the battle. The fated race, the 5 elements race, and the phoenix race. At this moment, the beautiful woman from the phoenix race appeared. She looked at Su Yu, and her expression did not change. She calmly said, "The phoenix race does not want to participate in the battle between the 10,000 races. However, the human race has caused 9 title changes, and the phoenix race has also gone from being a powerful ancient race to now, with less than 1/10 of their strength remaining. Su Yu, with the fall of the great Qin king, it is also a good thing that the human race has retreated back to the human realm." At that moment, he too was beside Su Yu, but he did not make a move. It was as if he had seen through he too's intentions. He too only seemed to be protecting Su Yu's life and did not make a move for him. This was the confidence of the invincible phoenix race. Su Yu's gaze was dark and cold. "The phoenix race has never interfered, but now you want to interfere? Aren't you afraid that you will bring about the destruction of your entire race?" The phoenix woman said softly, "Su Yu, you know what the various races are afraid of. Be it the celestials or the immortals, even if we step into the Tao fusing realm and enter the phoenix world, the phoenix emperor of our race can resist or even kill us. Only the human race cannot. Once the humans advanced to the half-emperor realm and charged into the ancient world, they would not be able to suppress them. Even a great world like the phoenix race would not be able to suppress them. Even the phoenix emperor might not be able to fight against the great Qin king, so how could they fight?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2674, Chapter 2674, Chapter 570 Complicated Situation 4. Chapter 2674, Chapter 570 Complicated Situation 4. Su Yu exhaled and smiled. That's true. Among all the races, the human race is the most dangerous. Therefore, all the races kill the human race. It's best if you can understand. The phoenix woman said softly, "Unless it's absolutely necessary, our race is unwilling to be enemies with the human race. However, there are some things that we don't blame the human race or the phoenix race. If your race enters other realms, you will have the power to suppress them. Now, we will not interfere in the slightest." This was all nonsense. When the human race entered other realms, they didn't have the power to suppress them. This wasn't something that Su Yu and the others could change. This was an ancient rule. Yes, a rule. The power to suppress a realm. Now, Su Yu understood that this was a rule. Only by activating the rule could one activate the power to suppress a realm. He didn't know if there was such a rule in the human realm. If there was, then there were 2 ways to activate it. First, it was stronger than the rule. Second, there might be some special means to activate the rule, such as the invincible realm civilized master. Su Yu didn't think about all of this. He didn't expect that because of his appearance, the Phoenix tribe would also choose to attack. Although they didn't attack him because they were afraid of he too, the other party clearly didn't want Su Yu to interfere in any battle. The head of the Sky Division was like this, and the Phoenix race was invincible like this. The only 2 who didn't participate were the fated kin and the 5 elements race. Su Yu didn't know what they meant. At this moment, he suddenly shouted, "Kong Kong Kong, Huangjiu is in my hands. Help me kill an invincible one, and I'll give you Huangjiu. Not only that, the one tombstone is also completely yours. I'll never ask you for it again." An ethereal voice sounded, "Su Yu, why bother? You know her identity, and I know it. Using her to threaten me, isn't it inappropriate?" Su Yu said coldly, "Then don't bother about her. Help me once and the matter of the one tombstone will be settled. Otherwise, you will never be able to open the one tombstone. I can even tell you how to open it. I'm only quasi-invincible." Kong 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 said faintly, "That's not good." Su Yu frowned and suddenly said, "All right, I won't force you. Go kill the quasi-invincible of the various races and the one tombstone will be yours. Isn't it easy for you to kill them? Did the various races still have quasi-invincible experts? Of course they did. However, the battle was not obvious. In the distance, Cheng Mo was fighting with them, but it was obvious that he was not their match. Of course, because the battle on the Great Qin King's side was too intense, the scale of the battle on the other side was too small. Quasi-invincible experts. Kong 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 said faintly, will you really tell me how to open the tombstone? Su Yu said calmly, I'll swear to the rules that I will tell you everything I know. If you don't, I will die immediately. Of course, if you can't open it. Then. Don't blame me, the tombstone might not be suitable for you. I will tell you everything, including, that your tombstone is fake. If you can't open it, I can't. Because it really isn't with you. And at this moment, Invincible shouted, Kong Kong, don't you dare. L don't dare. Kong 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 laughed. Suddenly, the space in the distance fluctuated. A quasi-invincible who was killing Cheng Mo suddenly disappeared and was taken away by the space. In the blink of an eye, Kong Kong was faintly visible outside Prince Gong's residence. With a single strike, he struck out with a coffin board. Boom! 3 bodies separated. No, the other party only had 2 bodies. Kong 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 struck out dozens of times, and with a loud bang, the quasi-invincible expert exploded. There were no rules outside Prince Gong's residence. However, it didn't take long for a sovereign of the dead spirit to charge over. Kong 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 vanished in an instant. He specialized in the power of space, so it would be too difficult to capture him. Kong Kong Kong's faint voice sounded once more, Su Yu, I believe in you. Don't play tricks. You saw it, I helped you kill a quasi-invincible. He was very strong. A quasi-invincible was instantly killed by him, and he was even brought out of the city to be killed. Even the invincible undead were unable to block his path. Su Yu no longer cared about these things. He suddenly looked towards the Great Qin King's side, gritted his teeth, and looked towards the distant Xingyue. He sent a voice transmission, later, I'll go and rescue you. Have the Heavenly Abyss race's invincible come and kill me. Xingyu ignored him. As for Su Yu, he braced himself and suddenly charged towards the Great Qin King. A group of invincible. If he was even a little careless, he would definitely die. However, now that no one could save the Great Qin King, the Great Qin King could not die. Su Yu was also a bold person with great skill. His only hope was that the Heavenly Abyss tribe members would come and kill him, he had to kill them. They had an alliance agreement, and the Heavenly Abyss tribe had the obligation to listen to the arrangements of the undead. If they didn't listen, they would be killed by the rules. If they listened, killing Su Yu would have the same outcome. Of course, the activation of the rules required time. Su Yu glanced at the Guiyuan saber in the distance. There was the incarnation of the rules here. He wondered if the activation of the power of the rules would be faster. Last time, when the power of the rules killed the clouds, it was delayed for a while, and the lightning tribulation was broken by those half-emperors. This time, was it the power of the lightning tribulation or the origin convergence saber? Su Yu wasn't sure, so, he hurriedly sent a telepathic message to He Tu. Lord He Tu, you have violated the rules here. Is it the lightning tribulation or the origin convergence saber? You're asking me. He Tu replied indifferently, L don't know. I don't remember. Damn. This isn't reliable. Forget it. Su Yu still has other tricks up his sleeves. If the rules are really the lightning tribulation, screw him. Get ready, Mount Tai, and make Ol Zhou go crazy. We'll see who dies. This was the last resort. If it wasn't for the origin convergence saber, he wouldn't have been able to stop Mount Tai from killing him. Just as Su Yu was about to charge over, the Heavenly Abyss tribe's spirit resentment suddenly felt the alliance contract in his mind trembling. Kill Su Yu and take his Time Master inheritance. Remember, taking his book is something we need. It's very important. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2675, Chapter 2675, Chapter 570, Complicated Situation 5. Chapter 2675, Chapter 570, Complicated Situation 5. Shi Guang Master's Inheritance. Ling Resentful's heart trembled slightly. The head of the Sky Division had just mentioned this as well. But, what was the relationship between these undead and Su Yu? He quickly shook the alliance agreement. What is the relationship between the two of you and Su Yu? He's related to he too, that's a matter between him and he too. Previously, we only came to an agreement with he Tuesday. He too isn't within the scope of the alliance agreement. Spirit resentment was still a little hesitant. He was worried that something might go wrong. The undead race didn't seem so pure anymore. This time, a lot of trouble had appeared. Just as he was thinking, Spirit Resentment's heart jolted. Boom! A spear slashed past his ear, and blood splattered everywhere. Spirit Resentment's heart throbbed endlessly. The Great Qin King, he had actually been distracted during the battle with the Great Qin King, and his head had almost been pierced through by the other party's spear. At that moment, he made up his mind. According to the alliance agreement, he had to serve the dead souls, and the dead souls would snatch the treasures for him. If they did not listen, that would be breaking the rules. If they listened, they could at least avoid the Great Qin King. He was a little afraid. The gods and devils would definitely kill the Great Qin King. He wanted to kill him too, but he did not have the strength to do so. He might as well take the opportunity to hide for a while. The Great Qin King was at the end of his rope and was also in the most dangerous moment. Now, he might even be invincible. Thinking of this, when he saw Su Yu charging over, he quickly shouted, "I'll go kill him." Beside him, Invincible of the Dragon race and Invincible of the Netherworld race cursed in their hearts. They wanted to go as well, but this crafty fellow beat them to it. Spirit Resentment quickly charged out and shouted, "Feng Ming, block he too for me." That expert from the Phoenix race slightly frowned. Very quickly, his gaze turned towards he too. He too also frowned slightly as he looked at Su Yu. This fellow, since the moment he came out, nothing good had happened. There was a huge pile of trouble. Even he did not have the confidence to protect Su Yu here. It was too dangerous. Danger was everywhere. From the Heavenly Abyss race. Su Yu also roared furiously at this moment. His aura soared as he instantly charged towards the other party. He said furiously, "Your Heavenly Abyss race and one will not rest until one of us dies." He instantly charged towards Spirit Resentment's side. As for Spirit Resentment, just as he was about to attack, his heart tightened and he quickly retreated. With this retreat, Su Yu knew that he was in trouble. The other party might have sensed danger, and the Great Zhou King's silence character divine text seemed to be unable to block him. That's right. The silence character divine text was, after all, only at the peak of Tier 4. There was still hope in concealing the sun and moon. It was too difficult to block an invincible perception. Previously, he had even sensed the ice seal. At this moment, the moment the Spirit Resentment attacked, he felt a strong sense of danger. He instantly withdrew his hand and turned into a shadow, disappearing into the river of time. He retreated into the distance and looked at Su Yu in bewilderment. What was going on? He looked at Su Yu, then at the dead souls, then at the river map, then at Su Yu. His gaze became more and more strange. He quickly transmitted his voice to the heavenly curse. Is Su Yu related to these 9 dead soul lords? The heavenly curse, who was fighting with Lan Tian, was surprised. He quickly transmitted his voice, don't think so. It's not that he's not related. Let me ask you, is it possible that they are related? The spirit resentment was extremely furious. He transmitted his voice, there is a clause in the alliance agreement that you cannot attack the dead souls, and you cannot attack the dead soul's subjects. Su Yu is not a dead soul. Subjects, we only signed the alliance agreement with the 9 local dead souls. It's impossible for Su Yu to be their subjects. However, the moment I attacked, I felt the danger of death. How could the 9 local undead lords have anything to do with Su Yu? This was nonsense. However, the spirit resentment did indeed feel a sense of danger. This was impossible. Subjects, the only possibility was that one of the 9 undead lords who signed the alliance agreement with them was the undead lord who had converted Su Yu. But this was impossible. Su Yu had turned into a half-undead in the Grand Star Mansion. This meant that the undead lord over there had run over from Grand Star Ancient City. F***ck, how could that be? But Su Yu had already obtained He too. He too belonged to the Grand Star Ancient City. Then was it possible for Su Yu to bring the Grand Star Ancient City with him? He didn't dare to think about it, but he vaguely guessed that it was possible. Su Yu had not only colluded with He too, there was also another one. The one from Grand Star Ancient City. He was one of the 9 undead lords. Ling Hen was about to explode from anger. This was unimaginable. Truly, it was unimaginable that Su Yu's hand had reached into the undead realm. This was too terrifying and unbelievable. However, he felt that his guess was right. At the same time, the other invincible lords were also watching. An invincible lord said angrily, Ling Hen, do you think that if you let him go, the human race will let you go? Your race killed Yibatian, and if the great Qin King lets you go, even Su Yu won't. They all thought that spirit resentment was about to jump back. On purpose. However, spirit resentment was filled with bitterness, and it was hard to say. What nonsense! He didn't dare to say that his race had reached an alliance with the dead spirit race. At this moment, the only thing he could do was shout, you guys kill him, I'll kill the great Qin King. This was the only way. However, he was already suspected of jumping back, so who would dare to let him come again? The experts from the god and demon race all said furiously, hurry up and kill Su Yu, then come and help us. At this moment, if you didn't kill Su Yu, no one would believe you. Even if you came, we would still guard against you and kill you. When the spirit resentment saw this situation, he was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. You guys kill him, and I'll kill the great Qin King. This was the best choice. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to kill Su Yu. However, the agreement with the undead race couldn't be made public. Once it was made public, even the undead would have to kill him, not to mention the others. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2676, Chapter 2676, Chapter 570 Complicated Situation 6. Chapter 2676, Chapter 570 Complicated Situation 6. Damn it! Spirit resentment was extremely furious, but Su Yu quickly charged towards him and said with a smile, Sir, stop playing around, go and kill them. When he charged over, spirit resentment was so angry that he could only flee. F***ck. As he fled, he gritted his teeth and suddenly charged towards Xiao Longwu and the others. I'll count you as ruthless, I can't control you anymore. It's too unbearable. Now, the god and devil no longer trusted him. Since Su Yu couldn't be killed, then he would go and kill Xiao Longwu and the others to prove his innocence. However, he hadn't arrived yet. The 3 heavily injured immortals were all on high alert. Their blood essence burst out and their blood essence burned, the three bodies were about to collapse, forcing Xiao Longwu and the others to retreat in order to prevent the spirit resentment from joining forces to kill them. Upon seeing this stance, the other party seemed to be ready to self-destruct. The spirit resentment was flustered and exasperated. Idiot! Forget it, I'll go kill Lan Tian. Only heaven curse knows why I'm so miserable. Then I'll go kill Lan Tian to prove my innocence. His speed was too fast. Su Yu couldn't even catch up to him. As for Lan Tian, he was also puzzled at this moment. Indeed, he was a little puzzled. He cackled and said, "Heaven curse, are we still on the same side? It can't be, right?" Even though he said that, he still quickly fled. On the same side? Even if Su Yu, this little madman, chose to join forces with the gods and devils, there was a high chance that he would not choose the Heavenly Abyss tribe. This was the tribe that killed Yi Batian. No matter how much Su Yu did not recognize Yi Batian, he would not collude with the enemy that killed his grandmaster, right? Of course, Su Yu would not. But, he could not catch up. At this moment, Su Yu was also anxious. Was it so great to be invincible? He ran so fast. Fortunately, he had also reduced the pressure on the great Qin king by killing one. Now that he had killed one, there were only 12 invincible experts around the great Qin king. Well, there were only 12. Great Qin king, keep it up for a while longer. After I kill the spirit resentment and get some rewards to enter the fourth transformation, I'll go devour the invincible essence blood and help you kill another invincible expert. Su Yu, have done my best. As Su Yu thought to himself, he quickly shouted, "Lan Tian, come to me. We're friends, don't do anything rash." All right. Lan Tian quickly fled in his direction. As for the spirit resentment and the heavenly curse, they knew what was going on. They all looked towards the head of the Sky Division and the previous leader of the undead. F***CK. That was that. That must be Su Yu's undead sovereign. Bastard, the undead sovereign that Su Yu colluded with wasn't just one or two, but many. Many. They were going crazy, how could it be? What did Su Yu promise them to make this undead sovereign cross over thousands of mountains and rivers to look for him? Impossible. The two experts were so aggrieved that they wanted to explode. Those who disobeyed orders would die. Those who killed Su Yu and injured Su Yu would be punished by the rules. What should they do? The others no longer trusted them because they did not kill Su Yu. Instead, they avoided Su Yu. Even if everyone felt that there was a problem, at this juncture, who would have the heart to figure out the reason? Everything was based on safety. No matter how suspicious everyone was, they would still have doubts now. You suppress Su Yu. Don't hurt him. I killed Lan Tian. Everyone will naturally believe that we are fine. Spirit resentment transmitted his voice, and Heavenly Curse's expression changed. Very quickly, he gritted his teeth and agreed. All right, I'll try to suppress him. Su Yu, for the time being, he did not have the ability to kill them. It was fine as long as he did not hurt Su Yu. At this moment, the scene was extremely strange. Some of the invincible ones could not see through it. On the Five Elements race's side, the invincible one from the Five Elements race was also extremely puzzled at this moment. What was going on? Spirit resentment and Heavenly Curse were chasing after Lan Tian, and Su Yu was chasing after them. Lan Tian was going around in circles to meet up with Su Yu. The three parties formed a large circle. They were just playing around. Did the Heavenly Abyss race really come to an agreement with the human race? Otherwise, would the two experts be led by Su Yu and Lan Tian? If they worked together, even if they couldn't beat Lan Tian to death, one of Lan Tian's clones would die, and Su Yu would be killed with a few slaps, even though the current Su Yu was also very strong. At this moment, only he and the fated race's invincible hadn't made a move. The Sky Division leader and the Phoenix race expert were at least restraining some people. The Five Elements race expert. He transmitted his voice, floating earth spirit, you said not to be enemies with the humans, but now, the humans seem to have no choice. If we don't make a move, once the various races win, that fated race and I will be the first to die. The fated race is mysterious, and I will be the one to die. The great Qin King couldn't hold on any longer. Of the 12 unrivaled experts that surrounded him, a few of them had their 3 incarnations destroyed. However, the great Qin King's 3 incarnations had also been scattered. At this moment, his unity state had fallen. This was a sign that he was going to die. Perhaps there was still some time, but who could reverse all of this? There was, the head of the Heaven Department. If he helped, he could reverse the situation. As for the rest, it would be difficult for anyone to make a move. However, the head of the Heaven Department was currently facing off against the undead. Among the 5 elements experts' heavenly weapons, the floating earth spirit's expression fluctuated. Soon. The floating earth spirit quickly said, let's watch for a while longer. If Su Yu is out of ideas, feel free to do so, Elder. If Su Yu manages to finish off the fellow from the Heavenly Abyss tribe. Elder, make your move quickly. No matter what, go kill the invincible immortal, you must kill him. Floating earth spirit, do you really want to leave the lives of you and me to Su Yu to determine? Killing the immortals was invincible. Once the humans were defeated, he would definitely die. Of course, winning was another matter. Elder, listen to me. I won't harm the 5 elements race. Although it's a little late, don't take sides too early. Otherwise, we'll all die. Elder, listen to me. Watch for a while more. Wait for a while more. Unless Su Yu is killed, then don't worry about anything else. Go kill the humans. Even though it was a little late, it didn't matter. Just make a move and show your stance. No matter how resentful the various clans were, they wouldn't rashly start a war with the 5 Elements clan. It didn't matter whether it was the humans or the various clans. It was the same. They didn't ask for the greatest contribution. They only asked for the most crucial moment to take sides. If Su Yu could finish off the Heavenly Abyss clan, the floating earth spirit felt that this fellow definitely had other tricks up his sleeves. Su Yu couldn't be seen through common sense. At that time, the 5 Elements clan would have acted to kill the immortals as a favor. Even if this favor was not as valuable as it was now, it did not matter. They did not seek great merit, but only wanted to make no mistakes. This patriarch of the 5 Elements clan took a deep breath and did not say anything more. He had made a gamble. He had to trust the floating earth spirit once. The floating earth spirit was the hope of the 5 Elements clan becoming one. It was the only fellow who could cultivate the 5 Elements technique and regain the glory of the 5 Elements. Therefore, this elder decided to trust him once. The floating earth spirit was more important to the 5 Elements clan than Zhan Wushuang and Madonna. At this moment, Su Yu had decided the path for the few undefeatable ones. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2677, Chapter 2677, Chapter 571 Nine-Leafed Sky Lotus Opened L. Chapter 2677, Chapter 571 Nine-Leafed Sky Lotus Opened L. Run. Su Yu saw that the 2 guys were avoiding him and knew what they were thinking. He probably guessed something. He had to admit that his senses were sharp. But, could he run away? Su Yu still had a trump card that was useless. Soon, the blue sky flew over. Su Yu did not know if it was his real body. He looked like a celestial being with a face full of melancholy. Little Su Yu, they want to kill me. Su Yu was completely convinced by this guy. Even now, he was still so flirtatious. Didn't he see that the great Qin King was about to be beaten up? As for Su Yu, he shouted, "Great Qin King, wait for the four of us to adjust ourselves. After we kill the immortal experts, we'll go and save you." The great Qin King didn't listen at all, including the gods and demons. There was a high probability that Su Yu had nothing to do with the heavenly abyss race, but they had to be a little more careful. In reality, they didn't have much suspicion towards the heavenly abyss race. They were only worried about what might happen. Kill the celestials and save the great Qin King. Then just you wait. At this moment, the three bodies of the great Qin King started to disperse. Gradually, three figures appeared. The group of people were overjoyed. After paying the price of the deaths of many unrivaled experts, the great Qin King was finally separated from his three bodies. It was time to die. The great Qin King panted heavily. The three great Qin Kings stood back to back as they looked around. There was not much sadness, only some melancholy. They had failed in the end. As expected, once this person was impulsive, he would not be able to accomplish anything big. As a person of the human race, he should not be so impulsive. It was a pity, humans still had feelings after all. Impulsiveness was also a type of emotion. I have let old Zhou, old Zhu, and the others down. I'm sorry, but I did not grasp the opportunity that you created for me. Once the news of my death spread, the human race would probably face a great calamity. I hope you can hold on. He looked towards Su Yu, towards the blue sky, and then towards Xia Longwu and the others. At this moment, Xia Longwu and the others' blood essence burned as they roared and madly attacked the three immortal kings, causing the sky and earth to change color. However, it might be too late. The three great Qin kings were all panting. One of them was wearing armor. That was when he led the human race to resist the heavens. The other one was still wearing armor, but there were traces of time and war. The last one had white hair and looked a little old. However, what remained unchanged was the old armor. He panted and waved his spear, killing. All his life, he had been fighting. From the age of 18, he had led his friends and partners to fight. They resisted the last ruthless dynasty of the human race, killing their way to the imperial court and destroying the last dynasty. The war had just ended and the battle of the heavens was about to begin. He once again picked up the long spear that he had just put down. He brought his friends, his subordinates, and his robe as he continued his slaughter. He had killed countless people, the human race had killed many, and so had the myriad races. He did not know when he would stop his slaughter. Perhaps, today would be the day. It was not a loss for a general to die in 100 battles. In this life, there were too many people who wanted him to proclaim himself as the emperor of the human race. However, he rejected them because he knew that he was too weak. Not only was he lacking in strength, he was not qualified to be the emperor. He could not be ruthless toward Pao Zi, nor could he suppress the other races. How could such a person become the emperor? He could see the turmoil in the human realm and the internal chaos. He was anxious, but there was nothing he could do. There was still someone behind Fan Hai's betrayal. He knew that, but he didn't want to think about it. He didn't want to investigate it. Perhaps, if he were to find out, it would only make him even more miserable. At this moment, the great Qin King's body was filled with killing intent and an aura of death. I'm getting old. I'm tired from the war. I should leave this world to the young man. Su Yu. Blue sky, myriad heaven saint. Xia Longwu. Many thoughts flashed through the great Qin King's mind. Before he died, he had to kill him and turn the world upside down. He had to kill all of these people to give them hope of escaping. With a roar, the three bodies waved their spears at the same time and charged towards a demon king. The demon king's expression changed drastically. At this moment, the Thunder God King and the Blood Fire Demon King hurriedly attacked, charging towards the three invincible bodies. The great Qin King's spear struck out like a divine dragon, piercing through the void as the demon king frantically retreated. At this moment, the great Qin King suddenly abandoned his spear. Turning around, the three bodies turned around at the same time and grabbed the Thunder God King, allowing the Sanguine Inferno Demon King to attack them. With a roar, like a prehistoric monster, its roar shook the heavens and earth. Boom! The Thunder God King was directly torn apart by him, and a river of time quickly appeared, piercing through the heavens and earth. A moment later, the Thunder God King was resurrected in the distance. He was an eternal 7 Dan, and even though his body was torn apart, he was still able to be reborn through space. Instead of being reborn on the spot, he was once again killed by the great Qin King. He had lost one of his incarnations. The Thunder God King's expression was grim, and one of the great Qin King's incarnations had been smashed into pieces by the Bloodfire Demon King's palm. Just as the Bloodfire Demon King was about to attack again, a loud boom sounded. An earth-shattering sound shook the entire starry manor. The old great Qin King had self-destructed. He had done so to delay the blood and fire. Taking advantage of this moment, the great Qin King forcefully merged his two bodies and instantly attacked. Yes, the blade. The Xia blade. That blade seemed to come from heaven and earth. In reality, it came from Zhu Tianfang's body through the void. That was the Xia family's blade, the Xia blade. It was originally prepared by the great Xia King for the great Qin King. However, it was only used as a last resort, and the great Qin King had no choice but to use it. Using this blade meant that the great Qin King had reached his limit and was about to die. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2678, Chapter 2678, Chapter 571, Nine-Leaf Sky Lotus Open Chio Subscribe, 2. Chapter 2678, Chapter 571, Nine-Leaf Sky Lotus Open Chio Subscribe, 2. Puchi. The brilliance of that blade split the heavens and earth apart. As that blade descended, the Thunder God King was instantly killed. As his final body appeared, the great Qin King roared and punched out. With a boom, the time tunnel was shattered. The final body was smashed into dust by the great Qin King. Blood rained down. In the sky, lightning flashed. The Thunder God King, the leader of the Thunder God race, had been killed. Shocking. Boundless shock. As for the great Qin King, he also revealed a faint smile. He had finally killed this fellow. He had a lifetime of body, so it wasn't too bad to exchange it for a 7 Dan. He had already lost his 3 Dan body, so it wasn't a big deal to cripple his future body. At the very least, he had killed this fellow. The Celestials would probably cry bitterly as well. The Thunder God King, the Thunder God clan's leader, was a 7th stage immortal. He wasn't weak in any clan. The Tao King, the white-haired God King, and the others were the people who usually spoke for each clan. It could be seen from this that they weren't weak. At this point, the 6th invincible god had fallen. There were 2 Celestials, 3 Celestials, and 1 demon. Yes, 3 Celestials. Of the 5 godly monarchs, 3 had been killed. The remaining 2 were pale. The Celestials were in trouble. Not only had 3 godly monarchs died, one of them was the master of the Thunder Celestial race. And at this moment, in the outside world, the world shook as blood rained down. The expressions of the invincible monarchs were unsightly. 6 invincible monarchs. From the moment the first immortal king was killed, the battle seemed long, but in reality, it was very short. It had not even been half an hour, but in the end, 6 unrivaled experts had died, including the Thunder God King who had just died. Who killed them? Someone's face was pale. Who killed them? A demon king said coldly, previously, someone sent a message, a blood essence message, saying that it was the Great Qin King. The Great Qin King of the human race. I don't know if it's true or not. The moment these words were said, countless people looked towards the human race. At this moment, the Great Xia King and the Great Zhou King had cold expressions. The Great Zhou King didn't say anything, and the Great Xia King's heart shook violently. It was over. Something had happened to old Qin. He felt it, he felt that the blade that he had used his entire life had been used. At the moment he used it, lightning had died. It was old Qin who had killed him. The Great Xia King trembled, he really trembled. Endless regret. He should not have been allowed to go. He should not have. It was over. With old Qin's death, the human race would definitely fall apart. With all the races coming, the human race was in danger. Bastard! The Great Xia King roared in his heart. Bastard, how did you get exposed? Why was it so fast? Did the nine-leafed heavenly lotus open? The probability was that it had not opened yet. According to his guess, now was not the time for the nine-leafed heavenly lotus to open. Why did he have to make a move? Why? The Great Xia King's heart trembled. However, the Great Zhou King said indifferently, "What are you looking at? You believe what the demons said. Why? Do the demons think that we don't know about the bloody fire entering? Kill Lei Ting. Only the bloody fire and that person from the Sky Division can kill him. Is that so?" Someone said coldly, "Qin Guang didn't really go in, did he?" No way, right? Hee, it would be interesting if Qin Guang went in. Isn't it a good thing that the Great Qin King went in? Maybe. It's fake. Cold voices came from the air. They were filled with malice. The Great Zhou King said calmly, "Yes, old Qin went in. The human realm has become a defenseless place. Are you guys ready to kill your way into the human realm?" After saying that, he said with a sneer, "We can try." Try? Sure. At this moment, a total of 3 space-time passageways instantly arrived at the Eastern Warzone and pierced through the heaven and earth. 3 incomparably powerful existences attacked the human race at this moment. Just as the Great Xia King's heart trembled, the heavens changed. In the heaven and earth, a long spear appeared in the air. The killing intent of the long spear shook the heavens as it shot out. Boom! An earth-shattering boom rang out. One of the 3 passageways was directly destroyed by the spear. Rumble! An incomparably powerful figure instantly appeared in mid-air, stabbing out with his spear. With a poochie sound, he pierced through an expert. With a bang, the time passageway was destroyed. A powerful existence, one of the 3 bodies, was instantly killed. As for the other 2, without saying anything, the time tunnel disappeared, and in the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the range of the human realm. On the side of the Sea of Stars, the Great Zhou King laughed scornfully. Idiot! The surrounding experts all looked at the Demon King who had spoken, and their eyes were all cold and fierce. This was especially true for the celestial race, where the expert whose body had been killed was from. Yes, the celestial race's expert. At this moment, the white-haired divine king's face was ashen. He was a top-tier eternal, an ancient existence in the celestial race, a level 9 eternal. The 3 of them were all eternal 9 Dan experts. He had only gone to test them out, but in the end, he had been killed instantly. Bastard! The white-haired godly king roared angrily. Damn the demon race! Damn it! It was no wonder that the various races were tempted. Once the Great Qin King wasn't around, it would be an opportunity for the various races to exterminate the human race. In the end, *CK, the Great Qin King was there, and without saying a word, he had exterminated one of the 3 eternal 9 Dan experts. It was incredibly powerful. It was incredibly powerful, even stronger than expected. When the Eternal Nine Dan bodies tried to probe, they were naturally confident that they could escape instantly. In the end, they died. Great Qin King, Great Qin Motherf ** Ker. At this moment, the Celestials were incomparably furious. At this moment it was the Celestials who had suffered the most. 3 invincible bodies. One was an Eternal 7 Dan. There was also one of the 3 Eternal 9 Dan bodies. This time, the Celestials had suffered a great loss, even worse than the Celestials. Only 2 immortal kings had died in the Celestials. Most importantly, there were no Eternal 7 Dan bodies. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2679, Chapter 2679, Chapter 571, Nine-Leafed Sky Lotus, Open 3. Chapter 2679, Chapter 571, Nine-Leafed Sky Lotus, Open 3. In the end, the Celestials managed to catch up and left the Celestials in the worst situation. He gritted his teeth and looked coldly at the demons. Only one of the 7 demon kings of the demon race had died. The Blood-Fire Demon King was so powerful. Was the news really believable? Believable my ass. Currently, there were not many people on the talent hunting list. In the face of a great battle, there was no time to communicate with the outside world. Moreover, there had always been slight tremors and there were no violent tremors. Now, the communication between the inside and the outside world, they could only burn their blood essence through invincibility. Even if they were invincible, they wouldn't easily burn it. That meant that they were finished. Unless it was an extremely important piece of news, such as the Great Qin King entering. Unfortunately, only the demon race had sent the news. Now, it had been proven wrong. It was a scam. That demon king also frowned slightly. The news, wasn't it right? Impossible. This was sent back by a demon king from his own race, so it was impossible for him to be deceived. They were still related by blood, so there was no need for them to burn a drop of blood essence to send back false news. However, that spear just now was also real. 2 Great Qin Kings. Who was real and who was fake? This demon king couldn't even explain himself, and he was silent. He had caused the death of a celestial race expert, and the celestial race was now extremely hostile towards him. The other races might also feel that he was intentionally deceiving people. There was no other way, no explanation. That spear attack just now was enough to prove everything. Other than the Great Qin King, no other human was this strong. East Rift Valley. In the sky, an incredibly powerful figure floated in the air and said coldly, "All of you, scram far away. It's not your place to be arrogant in the Eastern Warzone." Behind the Great Qin King, countless invincible human figures appeared. Someone said in surprise, "Are these guys crazy? Old Qin, you're here to hold down the fort, but those guys actually dare to split into 3? The human race felt that they were crazy. The 3 Eternal 9 Dan clones were indeed very powerful. If they joined forces, apart from the Great Qin King, no one would be able to defeat them. However, no matter how powerful they were, with the Great Qin King here and the 3 of them splitting their bodies, weren't they courting death? Was it fun to lose one's body? Even if they could rebuild it, they would still need to spend countless treasures and time. Were they all crazy? Had they just sent themselves to their deaths? The Great Qin King couldn't be bothered to say anything else. He waved his hand, and a vessel appeared in his hand. He said calmly, "Not bad, I've given you some treasures. A vessel that can support a 9-stage Eternal Realm cultivator. It's a very good treasure." After saying this, he said coldly, "A bunch of bugs, ignore them." After saying this, he threw the vessel away and said, "Go, send it back to the human realm." "Yes, sir." A general appeared and looked at the great Qin king with admiration before quickly escorting the object back to the human realm. He knew who to give this object to. He wanted to give it to those old men who had lost their 3 bodies. Most importantly, those old men really had no way of obtaining the object. Now, they had come for nothing. Old Qin, did they send a treasure here? In the crowd, Invincible made a joke. The great Qin king said calmly, who knows? Don't worry about it. However, the situation in the Sea of Stars doesn't look good. The great Han king, the great Shang king, the great Tang king, and the great Song king, the 4 of you, including Wang Hu, who is good at time magic, the 5 of you will go to the Sea of Stars to hold down the fort. With the great Xia king and the great Zhou king, it will be enough to intimidate everyone. We're all going. Many people were surprised. The great Qin king calmly said, there are very few humans dying over there. Many people are probably jealous. Go and keep an eye on them. Once the manor is opened, escort everyone out of the manor, just in case. If any of the races dare to cause trouble, split into 2 groups and wait for my news. If the celestial and demonic dragons dare to cause trouble, find an opportunity to enter the world and slaughter them until they retreat. Yes, my king. The few powerful unrivaled experts didn't say much. Since the great Qin king had plans, then everyone should go and take a look. Indeed, they had received news that the various races had suffered heavy casualties. The human race had profited. Up until now, the unrivaled experts hadn't died, and the unrivaled experts hadn't died. Even under the unrivaled experts, hundreds of people had survived. The few powerful unrivaled experts quickly broke through the air and left. Beside the great Qin king, a prefecture opening king looked around and said, Old Qin, the situation isn't very stable right now. Should we call old Zhu over? There's no need. Let him stay in the Daming prefecture. The great Qin king said calmly, that guy is still sulking. Don't bother about him. The older he gets, the more troublesome it will be. Around them, a group of people laughed. Someone laughed and said, that guy is really in the human realm. Old Qin, don't lie to us. We're not stupid. Ha ha ha, I think that guy wants to catch up to you guys. Let's go first. Hee hee, I think so too. Old Qin is still covering for him. Alright, let's go. It's not the first time that old Zhu is not satisfied with old Qin. Go. That guy is just a bumpkin. He even thinks that old Qin and old Xia are boorish. Soon, the group of people laughed and dispersed. With the great Qin king around, the backbone was there. Even though the situation wasn't too good, they could barely hold on, so they didn't have to worry too much. In the air, the great Qin king was silent for a while, and soon, he disappeared on the spot. A moment later, the great Qin king appeared in the vanguard camp's main hall. At this moment, the great Qin king looked into the distance, looking at the endless sea of stars, and a trace of melancholy and worry appeared on his face. Old Qin had met with an accident. It was a very troublesome matter. Once he died, when he fell, the world would collapse. He could hide it for a while, but he couldn't hide it for the rest of his life. The great Qin king closed his eyes and thought for a while. Suddenly, he said, Southern Borderless. After a while, the Southern Borderless appeared and bowed slightly. Great Qin King. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2680, Chapter 2680, Chapter 571, 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus. Joe subscribe, 4. Chapter 2680, Chapter 571, 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus. Joe subscribe, 4. The great Qin King calmly said, Go and do something. Great Qin King's orders. Secretly take Su Long away and find a place to hide. You don't have to tell me where he is, nor do you have to tell anyone. Unless one day, Suyu comes to find you and you tell him. Nan Wujiang looked doubtful. Go. But. The great Qin king calmly said, it's fine. Also, if no one finds out, go to the great Qin manor and take Qin Hao's son and that useless grandson of mine away. Find a small world to settle down in. Nan Wujiang's heart slightly trembled as he looked at the great Qin king. You mean? The great Qin king lightly smiled and said, there's no point. I'm old. Qin Hao and the others have all run into Qin town, and Qin Fong has gone as well. The whole family is worried. If they're all dead, won't they be extinct? Go and pick that little fellow up. Otherwise, he'll be led astray in the human realm and at home. Nan Wujiang was silent for a while. He looked at him deeply, nodded, and instantly disappeared. After the boundless south left, the great Qin king leaned back on his chair and sighed. I can only do this for you. If you die, the human realm will fall into chaos. 1. Probably won't be able to control the entire situation. If chaos ensues, your Qin family will have to leave a descendant. Father. Qin king. Starry Manor. At this moment, the expressions of the human experts also changed. The great Qin king had lost one of his 3 bodies. His future body was dead. It was over. A mournful roar rang out as Xia Longbu once again slashed out with his saber. With a rumbling sound, he killed the last body of an immortal king on the spot. In this battle, he used the price of the destruction of Xia Longwu's last body to join forces with Qin Zhen. Finally, this immortal king was killed. At this point, only 2 immortal kings remained. As for Xia Longwu and Qin Zhen, their vitality was greatly damaged and both of their incarnations died. What made them even more worried was the great Qin king. It was over. As for the 2 immortal kings, they were currently surrounded by 4 experts. However, they weren't as afraid and sad because Xia Longwu and Qin Zhen very quickly encountered an invincible Death Spirit Sovereign. Killing people here, the Death Spirit Sovereign was also a hindrance to them. When this Death Spirit Sovereign appeared, his battle prowess was extremely strong. Xia Longwu and Qin Zhen were both half-crippled, so it was extremely difficult to deal with him. They didn't dare to kill the spirit, nor could they. All of a sudden, the situation showed no signs of improving. At this moment, there was no one to help them teleport outside to kill people. They could only kill here. On the side of the great Qin king, an incomparably powerful monarch of the dead spirit appeared. This immortal king had fallen, and it was the 7th invincible monarch. 6 monarch of the dead spirit appeared, and the first one that was killed didn't appear. He was killed before he even entered the city. 6 monarch of the dead spirit, the previous 11, the entire 7th floor. At this moment, there were as many as 17 monarch of the dead spirit. Xia Longwu and Qin Zhen were powerless. They had killed people, but they were unable to surround and kill the immortals. They could only fight against the Death Spirit Monarch. This was the most painful part. They all looked at Suyu, wanting to see if Suyu had any solutions. At this moment, Xia Longwu no longer cared about his face. He shouted, Suyu, can you think of a way to get rid of this Death Spirit Monarch? On Suyu's side, he and Lan Tian were currently being suppressed. The spirit resentment was crazily killing Lan Tian, while the heavenly curse was trapping him and sealing him. Even if it didn't kill him, it wouldn't hurt him. F***ck. You're ruthless. The heavenly curse's strength is really quite strong. You're strong, right? What's the use of you being strong? No matter how strong your control is, you'll still lose control. If I can't do it once, I'll do it a few more times. At this moment, one of the 3 bodies of the great Qin king had fallen. Suyu was also anxious. He roared angrily and once again charged towards the sky. As for the heavenly curse, he chanted something and did not approach him. A black light turned into a large net and instantly fell towards Su Yu. The large net fell one after another. The heavenly curse coldly looked at Su Yu. You're quite capable. No wonder the alliance agreement was signed so smoothly. You're waiting for us here. Unfortunately. You're too weak. You don't even have the ability to let me hurt you. Even if you had quasi-invincible combat strength, that was all you could do. Weak fellow. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't kill you, killing you now would be a piece of cake. Split open the sky. Su Yu roared and slashed out with his saber. With a rumble, some of the large net was cut off. Heaven Curse snorted coldly and increased its strength again to maintain the existence of this large net. Its strength had increased. And at that instant, Su Yu suddenly shouted in a low voice, Mountain Tai. Mountain Tai. Mountain Tai. Rumble. The seventh level shook even more violently than before. The violent shaking caused the Yuan Qi to lose control and the world to turn upside down. The entire seventh level was shaking. In that instant, too much had changed. The great Qin King's body was about to be seriously injured when the Sanguine Inferno Demon King suddenly staggered and lost control of his Yuan Qi. The great Qin King also trembled slightly, but he escaped death and ran away. On the other side, the others were also shaken. These people were not that big of a deal. An immortal was lucky enough to escape a calamity. But they were fine. The heavenly curse that was strengthening suddenly lost control. Yuan Qi surged and with a boom, the large net fell. Su Yu's body was cut by the sharp web threads and was covered in blood. Su Yu grinned as he looked at the heavenly curse. His smile was brilliant. You are finished. I hope it's the returning origin saber and not the lightning tribulation. The lightning tribulation is too slow. One want the returning origin saber. On the seventh level, the returning origin saber was the rule. It must be the returning origin saber. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2681, Chapter 2681, Chapter 571, 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus Open Show Subscribe, 5. Chapter 2681, Chapter 571, 9-leafed Heavenly Lotus Open Show Subscribe, 5. Su Yu prayed. The heavens seemed to have heard his prayers. With a poochie sound, a blade light pierced through the heavens and earth. Heaven Curse's expression changed drastically. No. A mournful roar resounded through the clouds. No, I am the number one on the Tao manifestation board. I am an invincible existence. I cannot be killed by the rules. It is impossible. I am a genius, a peerless genius. Once I combine my three bodies into one, I will instantly step into the fourth or even fifth level of eternity. I will soon become an eternal powerhouse, advancing towards the Tao manifestation realm. I will not die, I will not die. Puchi. The origin convergence saber was extremely powerful. With a single slash, the heavenly curse did not have time to escape. With a poochie sound, his body was cut into two, destroying everything. The second body appeared, and another slash passed, and he was cut into two again. The third body. Yes, he had three bodies. At this moment, the third body had just appeared. Su Yu had been seizing the opportunity. With a bang, he brushed past the saber light and punched out. Boom! His body exploded. Rumble. Dark clouds appeared. Yes, a quasi-invincible expert had fallen. Suddenly, a bloody cloud appeared. It was comparable to being invincible. It could be seen that this heavenly curse could already be considered invincible. However, it was useless. Rules were rules, and they were specifically targeted at sovereign-level rules. The heavenly curse was dead. The surrounding dead souls were all trembling in fear. At this moment, be it stars and moon or river map, they were all trembling in fear. The other dead souls who had come from the rules also stopped in an instant. They were all trembling in fear. The Origin Convergence Blade. This was a blade that specialized in killing those who did not abide by the rules. Their hearts were palpitating. As for Su Yu, he cursed in his heart. Because he was killed by the rules, he was only one of the reasons. After killing his third incarnation, the rewards of heaven and earth were not much. This was not enough for him to complete the fourth transformation. F***ck. Su Yu cursed in his heart. Suddenly, he looked at Spirit Resentment, and Spirit Resentment's expression was extremely ugly. Heavenly curse is dead. Damn it, he's dead. How did Su Yu do it? They knew one thing. Blue Sky seemed to be able to contact an existence in the dark, but they really didn't know that Su Yu could do it as well. As for Blue Sky, he could only communicate under extremely aggrieved circumstances, however, it wasn't that obvious. Now, Su Yu shook the entire 7th level in an instant. They didn't know if it was Su Yu who did it, but at this moment, they all guessed that it was most likely Su Yu because it was too much of a coincidence. There was no such coincidence. The heavenly curse had actually lost control. Not only that, this time, Su Yu and Rule had joined forces to kill the heavenly curse, but there was actually no undead sovereign. Clearly, the rules determined that this person should be killed, and there was no need for an undead sovereign to appear. In other words, the rules didn't protect the person targeted by the rules. The heavenly curse and the heavenly curse were both people who had been abandoned by the heavens. As for Su Yu, he shouted, "Lan Tian, tie him down for an instant." At this moment, Lan Tian was also overjoyed. He roared as countless clones charged toward Spirit Resentment. At this moment, Spirit Resentment was also terrified and quickly fled. At the same time, the floating earth spirit was extremely shocked and quickly sent a voice transmission, "Don't wait anymore, Elder. Right now. Tie Spirit Resentment down and let Su Yu kill him. Su Yu has the confidence to kill him, quick. But the great Qin King is about to die. Quick, Su Yu has a trump card. He's communicating with a peerless expert. The Starry Palace. If it's not a peerless divine weapon, then there's a peerless expert still alive. Quick, Su Yu can communicate. All right." The eyes of the 5 elements race expert flickered and in an instant, they tore through the void. An incomparably sharp golden chi pierced through the heaven and earth, and with a poochie sound, it cut through the time passageway. Gold Spirit Race Expert. This sword strike was incomparably powerful, and it directly cut through the time passageway. As for Spirit Resentment, his expression changed drastically, and he fell down from the void. He was incomparably furious. "Jean Rui, you dare." Before the elder could speak, the voice of the floating earth spirit came from the void, "You dare bully my brother Su? You're courting death. Kill him." The floating earth spirit roared. Behind him, Su Yu was also taken aback. It was true. He had not expected this. The heck? The 5 Elements clan has helped me. This is 2F** King unexpected. He thought that even if the 5 Elements clan did not interfere, they would only be neutral. In the end, he was stunned. The other party had made a move, cutting off the undead passageway of Spirit Resentment. F***ck. At this moment, how could Su Yu still be polite? He roared, "Lan Tian, 5 Elements clan, tie him down. Let me do it." He swiftly charged toward the other party. Lan Tian and Jean Rui made their moves. Meanwhile, Spirit Resentment looked at Su Yu with a venomous expression. "I'll bury you with me." With a poochie sound, a mouthful of blood gushed out from his mouth. The blood instantly turned black. It was pitch black. This drop of blood instantly entered Su Yu's mind. It happened in an instant. Ha ha ha, let's die together. At this moment, the Origin Convergence Saber was activated once again. The saber fell. It seemed like there was nothing in this world that could not be cut by the Origin Convergence Saber. As the saber fell, the body of the spirit resentment was instantly cut off. One of its 3 bodies died, and then it was cut again, and then it died again. As for Su Yu, he was stunned for a moment before he roared, he punched out. Rumble. Blood rained down, and the spirit resentment was killed. Even though it was killed on the spot, it continued to laugh coldly. I'm dead, and so are you. Su Yu, I'll wait for you in the dead soul world. You've been hit by my soul severing all, I'll wait for you. What's wrong with you? Su Yu cursed as he enjoyed the rich reward. This was similar to the ice seal before he was killed. He had already killed half of it. With the heaven curse, it was almost enough for him to complete the 4th transformation. As for the black blood, F***ck, it didn't even penetrate the one tombstone. What a lunatic. One tombstone was so powerful. It didn't even move an inch, but it was indeed covered by a wisp of black blood. However, one tombstone was really powerful. At this moment it was slowly absorbing the black blood. Not long after, the black blood was completely absorbed by one tombstone. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2682, Chapter 2682, Chapter 571, Nine-Leafed Heavenly Lotus Open 6. Chapter 2682, Chapter 571, Nine-Leafed Heavenly Lotus Open 6. It was gone. Su Yu did not pay too much attention to it, but Jean Roy's expression changed drastically. Soul severing all, not good. Quickly abandon your physical body. And cut your sea of will to preserve a chance of survival. F***ck. It's over. Floating earth spirit, this unreliable bastard. I just F***king believed you and helped Su Yu, and Su Yu is about to die. This was the trump card of the Tian Yuan clan. In the past, Yi Badian was actually injured by this move. He was an invincible powerhouse. Using his blood essence and soul, he used up more than half of his strength to kill the enemy. Su Yu was dead for sure. No matter how strong he was still Ling Yun. This thing could even kill an invincible. Su Yu, on the other hand, had a smile on his face. Thank you for your help, senior. It's just a small matter. At this moment, his physical body was undergoing a rapid transformation. With a calm expression, he said, thank you for your trouble, senior. It's really just a small matter. How can a mere soul-severing cone, a trash-like ultimate killing technique, deal with me? Jean Roy was just about to say something when Su Yu's physical body shook. His 360 acupuncture points emitted an incomparably powerful aura, as bright as the great sun. The 4th transformation was completed. 4th transformation, complete. The strength of the acupuncture points in his body was above 7 million acupuncture points. Not only that, once his young acupuncture points were opened, the amplification seemed to be less than double. He did not know whether it was because he was too strong or because he did not have enough death aura. Su Yu probably wanted to die from absorbing the stars and moon. At this moment, the amplification gave Su Yu the feeling that it was only about 80%. Su Yu was very disappointed. In this way, after opening his young aperture, his strength seemed to be only about 15 million apertures. Could he be invincible? It was very difficult. Of course, among the quasi-invincible, Su Yu felt that in terms of strength alone, he was comparable to those 3-body quasi-invincible, stronger than the 2-body quasi-invincible. Or rather, he had a feeling that he was close to the level of Heavenly Curse and the others. Powerful. Very powerful. Perhaps he could try fighting against Invincible, but the main strength of the other party was the power of time. It seemed like it would be very difficult for him to defeat them. It was troublesome. As for Jean Rui, he waited for a while. When he saw a golden light emitting from his body and a powerful energy sweeping through the world, he was shocked for a moment. In an instant, he was completely stunned. The heck? This worked. It was fine if he didn't die, but at this moment, he felt that Suyu had become much stronger. Faintly, he even felt a little invincible. Jean Rui was extremely stunned, while Suyu hurriedly said, "Senior, can you help us kill those two immortals?" "Oh, okay." Jean Rui looked at Suyu in a daze. At this moment, he had somewhat understood the floating earth spirit. F***ck, this pervert was really perverted. If this fellow didn't die, the human race would be enraged. And after Suyu killed the spirit resentment, this was the 8th invincible being that had died. This wasn't even considered a heavenly curse. He wasn't invincible. 8 invincible beings. 3 from the celestial race, 3 from the celestial race, 1 from the demon race, 1 from the heavenly abyss race, and 8 invincible beings had fallen. And in the next moment, a mournful cry rang out again. Along with Jean Rui's joining, the only expert from the 5 elements race who had entered was also extremely powerful. The 5 elements race had sent him here to wait for the floating earth spirit to enter the 7th level. He was an extremely powerful, level 6 eternal existence who was protecting the floating earth spirit. The instant he joined, a golden light reflected the heavens and earth. The powerful Jean Rui was ready to attack. He hadn't fought from the beginning to the end. Would it be difficult for him to fight against an immortal who had 3 bodies separated? With Zhu Tianfang's cooperation, his opponent was instantly killed on the. At the same time, a heavenly weapon exploded. With a boom, countless miserable cries sounded out. All the immortals were instantly thrown out in all directions and exploded. Those who didn't die were instantly killed on the. At this point, of the hundreds of immortals, only one was left, the Xian He King. The Xian He King laughed bitterly. The immortals, have been at peace for a long time. In the end, they're still not as good as the other races. Although there are many experts, they haven't fought for a long time. They're a bit out of date. As he laughed bitterly, a boom rang out. Everyone joined forces to attack him. This time, there was one more person to kill. In the blink of an eye, King Xian He had fallen. 2 more Death Spirit Lords appeared in the air, and at this moment, the number of Death Spirit Lords that came from the laws had reached 8. 10 invincible ones had died. The celestial race had been completely wiped out. The heavenly abyss tribe and the celestial race had been completely wiped out. The blood rain fell on the 7th level, and the 7th level was frighteningly quiet. On the other side, the great Qin King was stunned as he looked at them, his face filled with shock. Dead? He had killed so many. More than he had killed. 10 invincible experts had fallen. Of the experts that had surrounded the great Qin King, 2 were invincible from the celestial race, 6 were invincible from the demon race, 2 were invincible from the dragon race, and 1 was invincible from the netherworld race. There were only 11 left. The invincible expert from the phoenix race was still glaring at he too. That expert from the sky division. At this moment, the blood fire demon king's expression changed. Do we still want to watch the show? And those from the fated race, have we watched enough? The demon race didn't suffer much, but the immortal race was completely wiped out. On the celestial race's side, the 2 godly kings were also extremely miserable. The dragon race and dark race were all terrified. Even though the great Qin King's 2nd incarnation was about to be destroyed, they were still afraid. The human race had actually killed 10 invincible realm experts. Fortunately, on the human race's side, a few invincible undead spirits had already gone over. Seeing that the Great Qin King wasn't easy to kill, the invincible undead spirits that had previously surrounded and killed the Great Qin King had all gone to look for Xia Longwu and the others. After struggling for a long time, not only were Xia Longwu and the others unable to escape, at this moment, along with Jin Rui and the other 5, they were surrounded by 8 invincible undead spirits. This made things even more troublesome. The Blood-Fire Demon King was now a little worried. He was not worried about anything else, but rather, he was worried that after killing the Great Qin King, this person from the Sky Division would not be able to do anything. Silence. The situation became clearer. The human race was still going to lose, but there were too many casualties. The Great Qin King still didn't die, and his final battle made the unrivaled experts tremble in fear. Behind him, Suyu said faintly, "It looks like the humans, immortals, and dragons are almost all dead. The demon race and the heaven hunting pavilion are probably the winners. Let's see who wins more." At this moment, a lotus flower bloomed in the air. 10 invincible experts had died, and countless experts had died. At this moment, the lotus flower slowly bloomed. It swayed, and a charming lotus flower bloomed its 9th petal. It had matured. The fragrance of the flower filled the air. With the blood of the experts, the 9-leafed sky lotus had matured. Invincible, 5 from the human race, 6 from the demon race, 2 from the god race, 2 from the dragon race, 1 from the 5 elements race, the dark race, the fated race, the phoenix race, and the heaven hunting pavilion, and 20 invincible experts. The human clan seemed to have a lot of people. They even had the help of the 5 elements clan, but they were all broken bodies. Xia Longwu and the others were even surrounded by 8 invincible dead souls. The situation was extremely disadvantageous to the human clan. P.S. Don't say that I broke my promise. P.M. Going to continue writing. I'm going to update tomorrow at around 12:00. I'm going to update tomorrow's update first. I've agreed to update tomorrow's update tomorrow. I'm going to write it tonight. I'm going to take a day off tomorrow. Humph. Coincidentally, I will go out to do some business tomorrow. One will continue to write. Before 12:00, I will finish typing for you. Are you angry? It will be the end of the 7th floor today. Humph. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2683, Chapter 2683, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. Subscribe to subscribe, L. Chapter 2683, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. Subscribe to subscribe, L. At this moment, only by killing the Great Qin King could he recoup all his losses. At this moment, the Blood-Fire Demon King looked at the 9-leafed heavenly lotus in the sky, gritted his teeth, and shouted, "Kill the Great Qin King first." The 9-leafed heavenly lotus could wait a little longer. Wait 9 times for it to open. There was still some time before he roared and was the first to charge towards the Great Qin King, directly entangling the Great Qin King's current body. He shouted, "Kill him." He was going all out. Previously, he was afraid that his injuries would be too severe, causing him to be powerless in snatching the 9-leafed heavenly lotus. But now, he was also going crazy. The Great Qin King was already injured to such an extent. If he continued to cower, the other races probably wouldn't dare to continue killing him. Bloodfire, you're really crafty. The Great Qin King panted and laughed. However, with your current state, you won't be able to reach the Daemerge in your entire life. If you had risked your life earlier, why would so many people die? The Bloodfire Demon King didn't say a word. He gritted his teeth and killed. The time tunnel appeared and surrounded the Great Qin King's body. He could still suppress the Great Qin King's current body. Without the 3-in-1 Great Qin King, his current strength was still slightly lower than his. At this moment, the Blood-Fire Demon King was more worried about the head of the Heaven Department. This was the next formidable opponent. At this moment, the 8 Death Spirit Monarchs were surrounding and killing the humans. The humans, including the 5 Elements race, didn't need to worry about them. No one thought about Su Yu and Lan Tian anymore. As for Lan Tian, at this moment, he felt a little melancholic. He glanced at the great Qin King and walked over. Going was courting death. However, there were times when humans liked to act cheap. I know that I would be courting death, but I still have to go. I am a human. Lan Tian thought to himself. He was a human. Even if he was one with the 10,000 Daos, he was still a human. Therefore, even though he knew that there was a dead end in front of him, he still walked in that direction. Su Yu, on the other hand, did not say anything or stop him. Humans were all like that. Even if both targets were powerful, they could not be stopped. On that day, Wan Tianxing had taught him a lesson. He turned around and went to save Xiaolongwu. No, he saved Xia Xiaoxi. Even if he knew that it was Xia Xiaoxi, he still went. Which one of them was less important than Xia Xiaoxi? However, they still went. Even if they went, they might not come back. The human race. Su Yu could not help but laugh bitterly. The human race was so hateful. I hate being born into this race. No, I did not hate the first 18 years. However, in these 2 years, he hated the scheming of the human race. He hated the higher-ups who had abandoned the many divine inscriptions for the sake of the overall situation. He hated the fact that many people were scheming against everything. He hated those people. However, at this moment, every time he was in despair and lost confidence in the human race, someone would stand up and tell him that what he saw in this world wasn't all darkness. There was a group of people who were light. They were risking their lives, fighting, and sacrificing. How annoying! Su Yu muttered as he continuously gathered some invincible essence blood, spirit resentment, heavenly curse, soon, and he landed on a sun-moon undead spirit and took the tour drops of immortal blood essence from the star-moon undead spirit. Su Yu first devoured the blood essence from the heavenly curse. This fellow wasn't invincible, so he wanted to test the effects first. He wasn't weaker than invincible, but his cultivation wasn't high enough yet. He wanted to see how his blood essence was, and he should be able to withstand it. A drop of blood essence entered his stomach, and soon, the golden body illustration flashed. He absorbed it. At the same time, in the distance, the head of the Sky Division moved slightly and looked at Su Yu. The expression on his face under the mask changed slightly. That fleeting fluctuation, usually, Invincible wouldn't care about it, but he would. That was because he was often on the heaven hunting list. The head of the Sky Division's expression changed. The inheritance of a Time Master. This was a somewhat familiar fluctuation. This was the inheritance of a Time Master, right? King Wen was a Time Master. No, this was King Wen's inheritance, right? One thought after another surfaced in his mind. King Wen. Time Master. Su Yu. Heaven Overseeing Marquis. Heaven Hunting Pavilion. The head of the Sky Division struggled. Heaven Hunting Pavilion was a faction under King Wen that oversaw the heavens. Time Master was the enemy of the heavens. King Wen, on the other hand, was one of the leaders of the human race. Complicated emotions. If Su Yu obtained King Wen's inheritance, then he would be King Wen's direct descendant. In name, he could be said to be Heaven Overseeing Marquis Little Master. However, was a marquis who had lived since ancient times really willing to have a little master on his head? Tian Yu, you can ignore everything when you enter the Starry Manor. When you meet Su Yu, confirm what inheritance he obtained. Is it Lord King Wen's or a Time Master's? At this moment, the head of the Sky Division recalled the words that Heavenly Lord Jian had said to him before he entered. If it's a Time Master's inheritance. Kill. Time Master, the enemy of all races, should be killed. Even King Wen said that he should be killed. If it's King Wen's inheritance. Upon saying this, Heavenly Lord Jian fell silent for a long time. At that moment, the head of the Sky Division also asked, what if it's both? Yes, what if it's both? What should he do? Why couldn't King Wen be a Time Master? Who said that King Wen wasn't? In the ancient times, it wasn't that no one had guessed this point. But now, the head of the Sky Division looked at Su Yu. He felt a familiar wave. What did it mean? Did it represent King Wen? However, he actually knew about Su Yu's book. It was more like the inheritance of a Time Master. As expected, he was right. The Heaven Overseeing Marquis did not mention the killing of a Time Master or King Wen's inheritance. Clearly, the Heaven Overseeing Marquis at that moment was also extremely complicated and conflicted. In the air, the nine-leafed sky lotus was blooming. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2684, Chapter 2684, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. 2. Chapter 2684, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. 2. As for Invincible Phoenix, he saw that he too seemed to be a little distracted. He looked at he too and silently wanted to kill Su Yu. However, when he too looked over, he didn't hesitate anymore and immediately charged towards the great Qin King. Since he was on the same side, he had no other choice. If he didn't kill the great Qin King now, the humans would really turn the tables. Then everyone would die. There was no accident. The Invincible Phoenix race knew that this was very dangerous, but, if he didn't kill the great Qin King, once the great Qin King got out alive and charged into the Phoenix world, who would be able to stop him? He couldn't let the great Qin King live. Boom! The 11 invincible phoenixes surrounded and attacked the great Qin King. How could they fight against the 11 invincible phoenixes? In the blink of an eye, the great Qin King's body was in tatters. He could only attack with his spear. It was as if he didn't feel tired, as if he had lost his consciousness. He could only attack with his spear, and the slaughter continued. Su Yu had consumed the blood essence of the heavenly curse. He smiled and was fine. Then there was no need to hesitate. In the next moment, a drop of powerful blood essence fell into his hand. Su Yu gritted his teeth and swallowed it in one gulp. Boom! A powerful aura reverberated in his mind. At this moment it was as if his sea of consciousness was about to collapse. However, at this moment, the golden atlas appeared. Not only was it absorbing energy, the tombstone outside of the golden atlas was also emitting a faint aura that was suppressing it. In the distance, the expression of the Sky Division head changed. What? What kind of aura was this? It was very weak. In the distance, Kong 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 was killing those quasi-invincible experts. He was also stunned for a moment. He blinked his eyes and looked in Su Yu's direction. He frowned and quickly shook his head. He didn't sense anything, but he suddenly felt empty. It was as if he had missed something and lost something. This is... The Sky Division leader's expression changed. What was this? The aura of Wendao? No, this, he was thinking. After a moment, he vaguely guessed that this was Wen Tombstone. He suddenly looked at Kong 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 in the distance with a strange expression. In the distance, Kong 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 seemed to have sensed that he was looking at him as well. He smiled and cupped his hands politely. Don't pick on me, I'm weak, I'm just a bystander. Should I kill him or not? At this moment, the Sky Division leader was in a dilemma. Should he kill him or not? Suyu might be King Wen's legacy. But, he was the disciple of heaven overseeing Marquis. Yes, disciple. He had lived for a very long time and came from the first tide. He was a figure from the same era as he too. However, whether he should kill Suyu or not, he was in a dilemma. On one side was his master, and on the other side was Suyu. A sigh echoed through the 7th level. There was only this sigh in the world. This was the sigh of the head of the Sky Division. At this moment, his 3 bodies suddenly separated. He looked at Suyu with a strange expression. He said softly, "I don't know if I should kill you. I'm in a difficult position. One side is my master, and one day is my master, and the other side is the human race. Yes, don't look at me. I'm a human, that's right. PM. Sorry. I can't do anything." At this moment, his 3 bodies separated, and suddenly, the 3 bodies began to fight on their own. Yes, they began to fight. Suyu was stupefied by this action. He was truly stupefied. Human race, Master, King 1. The voice of the head of the Sky Division sounded, "Since it's difficult to decide, then let's decide the victor and let them decide for themselves." This wasn't a fake fight. In an instant, the 3 bodies clashed together, and the sky and earth split apart. Suyu was stunned. He wasn't the only one. Some of the dead souls were also stunned. Long live. No, long live. The head of the Sky Division, this peerless expert, seemed to have driven himself crazy. At this moment, the 3 bodies were bleeding profusely. It was truly a life-and-death battle, as if a life-and-death battle was about to be decided. Suyu couldn't help but shout, "Hey, can't you kill those people first before making a decision?" For a moment, he didn't know if he should blame this person, as if he couldn't blame him. From what he said, the heaven overseeing Marquis wanted to kill him, but this person was a human, and he was hesitating. Therefore, with the 3 incarnations combined, he might have really forced himself into a desperate situation. When the 3 incarnations started fighting, no one would submit to anyone. What kind of operation was this? Suyu was dumbfounded. The Blood-Fire Devil King turned his head to look and smiled. The Great Qin King coughed up blood and looked at the head of the Sky Division. He sighed and said calmly, "There's no need to do this. Master, race, and faith. These 3 things can indeed make things difficult for others." Yes, King 1 was faith. The heaven overseeing Marquis was master and legacy. Humans were races. At this moment, this ancient human chose to use this method to balance these 3 relationships. As for the head of the Sky Division, the 3 bodies said at the same time, "In the past, I was a human. Now, I am the Pavilion Master's disciple. In the future, I will still believe in King 1. If I win in the past, I will kill 10,000 races. If I win now, I will kill Suyu. If I win in the future, I am King Wen's disciple, and King 1 is a human. I will go help the Great Qin King. My path will be decided by myself." Boom! The sky collapsed and the earth split apart. In fact, they were even more ruthless than the Great Qin King and the others. The 3 bodies understood each other, and the battle was extremely brutal and chaotic. But damn it, they were the weakest in the past. Suyu was also speechless. At this moment, he really had nothing to say to this person. He had gone mad. Everyone said that we were crazy, but in the end, he met a human who had gone through the first tide change. This was also the first, but the other party had gone mad. As expected, Lao Wan was right. The appearance of the 3 bodies, sometimes there's a clash of 3 personalities. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2685, Chapter 2685, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. Subscribe to subscribe, 3. Chapter 2685, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. Subscribe to subscribe, 3. If nothing went wrong, this situation had happened to the Minister of Heaven. Was he blaming him? Not really. It wasn't good to force anything on a master or a race. For example, Su Yu's master was Lu Wenyan and Bai Feng. If they said that he killed the great Qin king, what would Su Yu do? On one side was his master, and on the other side was the stabilizing needle of the human race. At that time, Su Yu would probably struggle as well. However, Su Yu did not expect to see this scene with his own eyes. He had seen a peerless expert who would drive himself crazy because of some personal beliefs. He felt somewhat sad and helpless. He was clearly a human and was so powerful. If he helped the great Qin king, he would definitely be able to kill all the races. However, he was also somewhat glad that the other party was a human. Therefore, when the heaven overseeing Marquis wanted to kill him, he struggled, he didn't choose to make a move, and he was still struggling. At this moment, he too suddenly asked, "What's your name?" Tian Yu. He too was taken aback for a moment before muttering, "Tian Yu. Tian Yu. I seem to remember you. You are that fellow who had just attained Dao back then, and you seem to be the descendant of a human king, so it's you." He did know the other party. They were both humans who had attained the first change in the tide. The other party had just attained Dao back then and was not much weaker than him, but he remembered. At this moment, Su Yu did not care much about it anymore. He quickly transmitted his voice to Xing Yue, "Sir, help me once more." Xing Yu looked at Su Yu with a cold and stern gaze. He seemed to hesitate for a moment or communicate with the other undead spirits. After a moment, he transmitted his voice, those two did not agree. Only the fool did not object. There are only two of us. Su Yu felt extremely complicated. Xing Yue agreed. However, he was absorbing the power of Xing Yue. The power of Xing Yue wasn't very strong right now, but that fool was much stronger. What should he do? He had consumed the essence blood, and his aura was becoming stronger and stronger. However, his physical body was slightly swollen, and he still felt a little weak. However, it didn't matter. Su Yu knew that he could still consume the essence blood. At most, he could eat more lotus roots. At this stage, the effects of the lotus roots were much weaker. It wasn't a big deal. At the very least, it could maintain his physical body's recovery. As for the great Qin king and the others, on one hand, they couldn't send him over, but even if they did, it wouldn't be of much use. The great Qin king was too strong, and the lotus roots weren't at that level yet. They were omnipotent. "I'm invincible now," Su Yu muttered, and a drop of blood essence entered his stomach again. "Sir, there's no need to come. Let that idiot come with me. Sir. Do me a favor and see if you can stop those undead lords from killing the humans." Xia Longwu and the others were in a difficult situation as well. Xing Yue quickly said, "We can delay them for a while." After saying that, the idiot nodded blankly and suddenly flew towards Su Yu. Xing Yue quickly flew towards Xia Longwu and the others and shouted, "Stop! What are you doing?" Some of the undead lords recognized her and some didn't. One of the undead lords asked in surprise, "Xing Yue, what are you doing?" Xing Yue said coldly, "I'm going to turn them into my subordinates." "Get out of the way." "What?" The undead lords were stunned. As for Xing Yue, she shouted outside, "Are you helping me or them? They are sent here by the rules. The rules are our sworn enemies. If we can't let them complete their mission, it's best to let the Gue Yuan Dao kill them and weaken the power of the Gue Yuan Dao. Perhaps we can take it away." Su Yu was stunned when he heard this. "I didn't teach you this. You can use your own brain. Is this absurd theory reliable?" At this moment, the monarchs in the outer area were also extremely surprised. Tuafa said in surprise, "You mean? Stop them from completing the mission and let the power of the rules kill them. We'll use the power of the Origin Convergence Saber and take it away. We'll completely open the door of the undead here. What else do you want me to say? We were sent here by the power of non-law and are not restricted by the rules. However, with the Origin returning saber here, it's only a matter of time before it will deal with us and punish us. This time, we have violated the rules. Will it?" Tuafa was not sure. They all looked at he too, and he too had a strange look in his eyes. After a long while, he said, "I'm not sure. Perhaps, listening to the stars and the moon will be better." Tuafa suddenly said angrily, "He too, are you trying to trick us?" After returning, they would be punished by the power of law. They really didn't know that. This was also the first time he too did this. In the past, when he was alive, there was no such punishment. Xingyu said coldly, "Now that things have come to this, if you don't want to disappear, then you should deal with these guys who came with the power of law." Tuafa said angrily, "Even if we don't give them the task, the power of law will only be slightly punished. It won't consume much. Xingyue, do you really think you're an idiot for giving it to us?" Xingyue said coldly, "Yes, one isn't much. There are 8 of them now. If more of them die later, then there will be even more. 10, 20 of them won't be able to complete the task. The Gui Yuan saber will punish them again and again. Sooner or later, a large amount of power will be consumed. Moreover, Suyu has already consumed a lot of it. The Gui Yuan saber is only a divine weapon after all. It doesn't have an own. So the power of law is limited. In this place, the Gui Yuan saber will be activated first, and not the rules of the ancient parliament." As soon as he said that, the invincible undead were furious. He too seemed to have lied to them. They would be punished when they returned. But at this moment, there seemed to be no way out. In their rage, the 8 invincible undead still rushed over. In the blink of an eye, along with Star Moon, the 9 invincible undead surrounded the 8 undead. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2686, Chapter 2686, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. 4. Chapter 2686, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. 4. At this moment, the 7th floor was once again deathly silent. Xia Longwu, Zhou Polong, Zhu Tianfang. These usually calm people all looked at Su Yu with their mouths agape. It was true. At this moment, even the group of unrivaled experts from the great Qin King side wanted to look back. F***ck. This was possible. Just how many experts did Su Yu hook up with? Socialites. The ancient city, the god-devouring race, the undead race, and the 5 elements race. Now, there was more than one undead race. F***ck, he had even hooked up with someone who could speak well. He had actually hooked up with 8 undead sovereign lords to surround the other 8 undead sovereign lords. At this moment, he too was stunned as he looked at Su Yu, somewhat stupefied. This was possible. What kind of bewitching potion did you give Xingyue? Su Yu's mouth was also wide open. I was just saying that, hoping that Xingyue could stall for some time. I didn't expect it, really, I didn't expect it to be like this. F***ck. Xingyue actually knew how to use her brain, she knew how to bluff. This. F***ck, how could it be? The undead were very stupid. Did Xingyue eat something? Meanwhile, Tuafa and the rest were extremely furious. They did not fight, but instead, they revolved around the 8 undead monarchs, they gritted their teeth and said, "Don't move around. If you fail the mission and are punished, you probably won't die. Think carefully. If you complete the mission, we will die. After the Guiyuan saber finishes punishing you, we will deal with the threat of the Guiyuan saber together. Otherwise, none of you will live. He was very angry. However, he was tied to a chariot. He wanted to kill people. As for Xingyue, she said calmly from the side, dealing with the Gui Yuan saber is the best way for us to enter and leave the starry mansion in the future. What's there to be angry about? Without the Gui Yuan saber, it's equivalent to Xinghong being killed by me. If I were you, I would be happy. This time, there are actually so many experts to help you solve the problem of the Gui Yuan saber. Thinking of this, the few undead were stunned for a moment. One of them said in realization, "It seems, that's right. After solving the Gui Yuan saber, we would be the masters of the Starry Mansion." It seemed to be very satisfying. They looked at Tuofa one after another. Were they still angry? On the other side, Xia Longwu and the others carefully retreated. The 5 invincible ones were now as careful as cats stealing food. Each and every one of them was extremely obedient as they quietly flew towards Su Yu. They had learned a lot. F***ck, they had really learned a lot. Su Yu was the most ruthless person in the human race. He was even more ruthless than the great Qin king. How many unrivaled experts had he colluded with? Xia Longwu and the others were all shocked. He was probably more ruthless than the entire human race. This was the true overlord. Compared to the others, apart from being stronger, the great Qin king was like a courtesan with 0 attributes. He was so powerful, but he hadn't managed to hook up with anyone. The 5 unrivaled experts quickly rushed over to Su Yu's side, and at this moment, they all let out a sigh of relief. They all let out a sigh of relief. As for Qin Zhen, he said with a sobbing tone, "Don't let out a sigh of relief. My father, my father." Alright, everyone didn't forget. However, they were all heavily injured. At this moment, they all looked at Su Yu with hope and hope. Could they still hook up with him? Could they? There was an invincible fated kin over there. Could they hook up with him? Also, September, Sky Devouring, and these guys, including Kong Kong, could all fight invincible. Could they hook up with him? Needless to say, at this moment, Su Yu really understood what they meant. As for Su Yu, he thought for a moment, gritted his teeth, and shouted, "Is Taoist Brother September here? I received the Iron-Eating clan's inheritance in the human race and learned the 72 Iron-Eating forges. Taoist brother, can you help me this time?" In the next moment, Zhou Yue's figure appeared, and his fat face was full of surprise. "You, as expected, there were experts in my clan who saw you before and said that you might have learned the 72 Iron-Eating forges. I didn't expect." Su Yu hurriedly said, "Not only that, a few days ago, one also received the blessing of the Iron-Eating Emperor from the ancient times. I got it when the 72 Iron-Eating forges were completed." September said in an even more peculiar manner, "I see, no wonder. No wonder there was something wrong that day. It was when the weapon was forged, wasn't it?" "Yes." September sighed and a huge bamboo appeared in his claw. "Forget it, you humans might not lose. I'll help you this time. Consider it the fate of the 72. Xia Longwu and the others were stunned at this moment. Could it really work? "Kong Kong!" Su Yu shouted. In the distance, Kong Kong quickly assessed the situation and hurriedly said, "At least give me 1 petal of the 9-leafed sky lotus. At the very least, I need it. Otherwise, I won't be able to attain the Tao in my entire life. If you give it, I'll give it my all." Su Yu gritted his teeth. "If we get it, we'll give it to you." "All right." "Heaven devouring!" Su Yu shouted again. The void trembled and a ferocious ancient beast appeared. It looked in Su Yu's direction and was shocked. Su Yu and the 4 humans made up 5 people. Kong Kong Kong, the 5 elements race, Jiu Yu, and dumbstruck. At this moment, there were already 9 experts. Sky Devouring pondered quickly and said, "My father said that you gave him the bright bird world." "Yes, yes, yes. Then I want an immortal king's corpse, a godly king's, and a demon king's." Swallowing Sky quickly said, "Then there's no problem." Xiao Longwu and the others were stunned. In the next moment, Suyu shouted, "Why are you still standing there when you're going to kill someone?" With a buzz, he broke through the void and charged in that direction. At this moment, Xia Longwu and the others were so excited that they wanted to cry. Qin Zhen laughed as he cried and shouted, "Father Su, one can call you father. Save my father." In the distance, the faces of the Blood Fire Demon King and the others changed. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2687, Chapter 2687, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. 5. Chapter 2687, Chapter 572, Mount Tai. 5. The great Qin King was also in a daze. He spat out blood and waved his spear in a daze as he muttered, "Human Emperor. The way of the Emperor. Was the way of the Emperor like this?" But today, he seemed to have seen an Emperor. He was ruling the heavens. Although Sky Devouring agreed to help, as if he had made a decision after judging the situation, but Sky Devouring still agreed. Boom! The intense sound of battle resounded through the sky and earth. Blue Sky, Sky Devouring, Kong Kong Kong, and September were all unrivaled. At this moment, they were rapidly entangled with 2 unrivaled experts. When the 4 of them joined forces, the 2 unrivaled experts were continuously sent flying. Those 2 unrivaled experts were from the Dragon Tribe. The 4 unrivaled experts actually suppressed these 2 experts when they joined forces. Out of the 4 unrivaled experts, Xia Longwu and Qin Zhen joined forces to deal with 1 expert while Zhu Tianfang and Zhou Polong dealt with 1 expert each. At this point, the 6 unrivaled experts were being held back. Furthermore, the human side was being suppressed. The 11 unrivaled experts were attacking the great Qin King's body, and in the blink of an eye, the 6 unrivaled experts were being suppressed. The stunned experts became even more ferocious. 1 against 2. The 8 were being led away. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 unrivaled experts left in front of the great Qin King, and their expressions changed drastically. It wasn't over yet. The experts of the 5 elements race laughed and instantly took 1 away. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. In the distance, the fated race's unrivaled expert looked around. It seemed that he was the only one who hadn't participated in the battle. Yes, he was the only one. Even he too had gone to play with the undead spirits. He too was very complicated. He didn't want to interfere in the affairs of the human race, but he had no interest in killing the 10,000 races. Therefore, he went to suppress the undead spirits that had appeared with the other undead spirits. This was because there might be more undead lords appearing later. The fated race's invincible looked around and then looked at the Bloodfire Demon King's frenzied attacks on the great Qin King. For a moment it was hard to tell who would win. But, no matter who won, he would be in trouble. He had to either run away or participate in the battle. At this moment, the Bloodfire Demon King also madly roared, "Master Wu, your fated race's 3rd tide flow almost died at the hands of the human race. Do you want to watch and wait for the human race to kill you?" Boom! At this moment, Su Yu's punch was aimed at an invincible person. The great Qin King moved over and stabbed an invincible person with his spear, sending him flying. Su Yu took advantage of the situation and punched out. With a loud boom, that invincible person was originally not afraid of Su Yu, however, after being hit by a punch, his body instantly collapsed. As for Su Yu, he was also overjoyed. He only has one incarnation. That's right, the great Qin King seemed to have killed many invincible three life forms. This fellow was so weak. With this punch, the other party's body collapsed. In his joy, Su Yu started to kill wildly. The great battle erupted once again. This time, the great Qin King's past body was completely relaxed. F***ck, he's just a salted fish. I'll slaughter all of you. As for his current body, he gave up. His only goal was to tie down the blood fire. Then, he would surround and kill Shuehua. The past was still there, but that would depend on whether he could recover or not. If he couldn't recover, then so be it. There were talented people in every generation. Today's battle had at least given him some hope. Rumble. The great battle quickly erupted, and everywhere was filled with slaughter. The fated Qin was invincible. He looked at the battle situation, then at the nine-leafed heavenly lotus. At this moment, Su Yu shouted, "If you make a move, the nine-leafed heavenly lotus will split 3 of your petals. One will do as I say. 3 petals. Do you think you can live if you don't kill all of these people? You just sit back and watch as so many of them die. The gods, devils, and immortals are all extremely domineering. Do you think that they are like the humans? The situation is dangerous, and they don't dare to kill recklessly." Su Yu roared, "Even if we humans want to kill you to silence you, we are worried that we will arouse the fear of September and the others. As for the demons, Bloodfire, do you think they will be afraid? The great Qin King is heavily injured, so it'll be very difficult for us to kill anyone else. Everyone has their own secrets, so we'll keep each other's secrets. At worst, we'll just blame it on the undead." In the distance, a group of undead looked at him with more than 10 pairs of eyes. Xingyue cursed in her heart. Did this fellow really think that the undead didn't dare to kill anyone? He was courting death. As for Su Yu, he didn't care, he roared again, "I'll know how to open the teleportation formation of the undead. I can bring the undead back to life. He too is my witness on this point. Lords of the undead, believe me, then don't care about these trivial matters." The group of undead suddenly looked over. Very quickly, they looked at He too again. He too said indifferently, "I'll believe, whether you believe it or not. It's up to you." Boom! At this moment, Su Yu slashed out with his saber. His civilized will covered the heaven and earth. He quickly put this dead guy into the atlas. The atlas shook violently. It felt like it was stuffed. This was a demon king. Now, it was mine. Although it was only one of 3 bodies. Soon, a dead soul monarch appeared. It was still in a daze. He too grabbed it and dragged it into the group of dead souls. He stuffed it into the other 8 groups of dead souls. At the periphery, he too, Xingyu, and the others, 10 necromancers were guarding the 9 necromancers. Tuafa said coldly, "Stay here and wait for the next one." The new necromancer lord was still in a daze. Someone beside him said, "Stay here and watch the show together, the more, the better. There might really be a chance." This newcomer did not know anything. He looked at Su Yu with some desire. However, he wanted to complete the mission. This is the mission target. I want to kill him. Why not kill him? Outside. The blood clouds gathered and the blood rain fell. 11 Invincible. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2688, Chapter 2688, Chapter 572, Tai Shan. 6. Chapter 2688, Chapter 572, Tai Shan. 6. Yu Wudi sighed, "What happened? Who can tell me what happened?" 11 invincible dragons died. And they were still dying. The expressions of the underworld race's experts changed. Their only underworld king had fallen. A moment later, the expressions of the dragon race's dragon kings also changed. What kind of dangerous place was it? In just half a month, 13 invincible dragons had died. At this moment, on the 7th floor, the invincible king of the fated clan suddenly attacked a dragon king. When he saw the people around him looking at him, he looked helpless. He sighed and said, "Kill them all. We'll keep this secret together. Even if this secret might not last long. Hopefully, we can get out of here alive." At this point, he should kill them to silence them. This might be the only way. With the death of a few unrivaled experts, the situation became more and more obvious. Rumble. This time, intense fluctuations shook the world. At this moment, Suyu helped the great Qin king to cross over and kill another unrivaled expert. As for the great Qin king, he showed signs of collapsing. It wasn't that the great Qin king was finished, but that his current body had been destroyed by the Bloodfire Demon King. In the void, the Sanguine Inferno Demon King panted as he looked down and said coldly, "I really didn't expect it. It was too out of my expectations." At this moment, the remaining few unrivaled experts were all retreating towards him, but they were constantly being killed. A moment later, both sides gathered together. On the other side, the Sanguine Inferno Demon King, 3 Demon Kings, a Godly King, and a Phoenix King, were gone. 6 invincible existences. On the human side, the human race had 5 of them. Now, the Fated race and the 5 Elements race had 7 invincible existences, excluding the undead spirits and Kong Kong. 12. In addition to the crazy head of the Sky Division, 13 of them were invincible existences. 17 of them had died. It was unimaginable. The Bloodfire Demon King looked at these people and smiled. "Qin Guang, how much strength do you have left?" The great Qin King fell silent. There wasn't much left. He was only left with a broken body. The Sanguine Inferno Demon King smiled again and said, "Even if you win, do you think you'll be able to survive if you get out? We've fought until now, and both sides have suffered heavy losses." The Sanguine Inferno Demon King sighed and quickly smiled. "However, it looks like you might not be able to win." Behind him, the unrivaled experts' faces were also deathly pale. This battle could be said to be extremely sullen, and the losses were terrifying. The Bloodfire Demon King looked at the 9-leafed heavenly lotus that had bloomed 7 times in the sky and smiled. "Great Qin King, it seems that you won't be able to win." The great Qin King said calmly, "Then continue to kill. Who wins and who loses, depends on luck." The Bloodfire was still a complete body. He was very powerful. The great Qin King raised his long spear and took a deep breath. "I'll think that I can still hold you back for a period of time. Everyone, kill everyone else and then surround and kill him. No matter how strong you are, you will still die, just like me." Suyu turned his head to look at the undead behind him. At this moment, there were many undead lords. 17 invincible lords had died. Other than the Spirit Resentment and the First Immortal, the rest had all come out. 15 of them were now being watched by 10 undead lords. Xingyu transmitted her voice, "Don't look anymore. One can't help you. If I help you, these guys will definitely fall into chaos. Not every undead is willing to be punished by the rules." Suyu frowned slightly. When the great Qin King was no longer entangled with the Bloodfire Demon King, he realized how strong Eternal 9 Dan was. Of course, Suyu was also very strong now. He had just helped the great Qin King and killed 2 invincible ones. At this moment, his physical body was undergoing its 5th transformation. This time, he originally wanted to rely on the 9-leaf Sky Lotus. Who knew that after killing so many invincible ones, it had helped him complete the 5th transformation? Suyu took a deep breath. At this point, the most troublesome person to deal with was the Bloodfire Devil King. If this continued, many people might die. Su Yu gritted his teeth and suddenly sent a voice transmission, "Wait a moment, the 9-leaf sky lotus has opened. Seize the 9-leaf sky lotus. Everyone, follow me and enter the 8th level. I'm going to show my might." The group of people were all extremely strange. The great Qin King sent a voice transmission, "There are too many people, and there are still a few hundred humans. Without an ancient position, it's difficult to take so many people away. You should go to the 8th level. We have to think of a way to kill these people. We can't let them live. Otherwise, once my news spreads, the human race will fall into chaos. Su Yu, this time. Thank you very much. I hope that in the future, there will be people from the human race calling themselves Su Yu. If one die here, everyone will be suspicious. However, I can't guarantee that they will be able to leave this place alive. My information will soon be exposed. If he died here, the human race would have a drastic change. However, the 10,000 races were not sure if he was the one who died. Someone was pretending to be him. However, if Shuehua and the others were alive, that would be troublesome. If the great Qin King died, the human race would definitely be attacked. Let's make a bet. Su Yu quickly said, "PM the Lord of the 4 cities, so I might be able to bring more people with me. I think that the others might still have an ancient position, or they might be able to bring more people with them. As for those who can't be taken away, don't ask me, I don't want to care anymore. You can decide who to give up." "One won't give up." The great Qin King calmly said, "If you give up once, you'll give up a second time, you can go. I should apologize for your divine literature, but, things have already come to this point. Today, let's end it. Whoever you want to take revenge on, that's your business. L. Won't care anymore. May not have the opportunity to care again." Su Yu frowned, the old man temper is quite bad. Do not go, die. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2689, Chapter 2689, Chapter 572, Tai Shan. 7. Chapter 2689, Chapter 572, Tai Shan. 7. Shuehua's strength was too strong. If he really went all out, this side might not be able to gain an advantage. You're already crippled, don't you know? Just as Su Yu was in a dilemma, suddenly, far away, the boundary wall trembled. The next moment, a cloud appeared. A person's voice sounded with endless emotion. Today, Yun Chen, have attained Tao. It was filled with endless regret. I have attained Tao. Su Yu and the others were stunned. Someone had attained Tao unrivaled. Yun Chen. Damn it. Where did he come from? The 7th level was about to explode. Prince Gong's residence was about to disappear, alright. Where the hell did you come from? Boundary wall. Su Yu was stunned for a moment. He had always thought that his master and the others were in the mystic realm. At this moment, he was stunned and hurriedly asked, "Where is my master?" "She's gone." Zhu Tianfang's face was filled with embarrassment. Su Yu did not blame him. It was an accident. The world wall, Yun Chen, my master and the others were gone. Damn it. They entered the cells. At this moment, Su Yu quickly transmitted his voice to Kong Kong Kong. "Can you bring us to the world wall?" Kong 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 thought for a moment and quickly said, "Probably, yes, but don't resist. If you resist, you definitely won't be able to." Su Yu thought about it one by one and quickly said, "Can you bring Xingyu with you?" "Be quick, just bring her alone. She won't resist, yes." Su Yu quickly sent a voice transmission to Xingyu, "Sir, we'll teleport you later. Don't resist. The 7th level is going to be finished. Come with me." Humph, do I need you to teach me? Alright, I understand. You'll listen to me. Su Yu understood and quickly sent a telepathic message to Kong Kong Kong. The space will fluctuate violently later. Just like before, you will first teleport to pick up the 9-leafed sky lotus and then take us with you and teleport to the boundary wall. Do you understand? What do you want to do? Cut the crap. If you understand, you will save your life. If you don't, you will die. It's that simple. Su Yu had thought it through. He would use his ultimate move. He wouldn't stop until he killed Xuehua. At this moment, the 9-leafed sky lotus had been opened for the 8th time. It was just a little bit more. Seeing that the Blood Fire Demon King was about to make a move, Su Yu suddenly said, "Blood Fire Demon King, we don't have any grudges that we can't resolve. How about this? When the 9-leafed sky lotus opens, give it to us. We'll help the great Qin King recover his 3 reincarnations. How about this? We won't look for you, and you don't have to look for us either. Once you leave, you won't have to worry about exposing the great Qin King. What do you think?" The Bloodfire Demon King laughed lightly. "Su Yu, this time, it can be said that we were defeated by you. Will you really let us go? You have to know that if the news gets out, you will be hunted down by the 10,000 worlds." Su Yu said indifferently, "It's not the first time. I'm used to it." The Bloodfire Demon King was stunned and laughed. It seemed so too. At that moment, he looked at the group of people opposite him and laughed. "All right then." At that moment, the 9th bloom was completed. Kong 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 instantly charged into the void, and just as the Bloodfire Demon King was about to charge into the void, he was blocked by the great Qin King's spear. Kong 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 immediately plucked away the lotus flower, revealing the time passageway behind him. He did not bother about it. Although the power of time was not weak and was sucking him in, he was an expert in the Tao of space, Su Yu had even reminded him. Kong 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 was overjoyed when he instantly grabbed the lotus flower. He wanted to escape, but, forget it, he definitely would not be able to escape. His power of space instantly engulfed everyone. No one resisted and allowed him to sweep away. Only the great Qin King calmly said, "El will stop him. Otherwise, he won't be able to escape." Boom! The long spear shot out. He wanted to stop these people for a while. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for Su Yu and the others to teleport away. Su Yu's expression changed. What kind of joke was this? It would be fine if the others died, but if you died, the human race would be in chaos. Stop fooling around. You want to leave? Where? Why do you want to leave? At this moment, the Bloodfire Devil King also realized something and his expression changed slightly. Where to? You're not allowed to leave. At this moment, the dumbstruck person who had been silent all this while suddenly stretched out his hand towards Su Yu and said with difficulty, "You. Fruit of life and death, give it to me. I smell it, give it to me, I'll stop him." Su Yu was stunned. His dazed eyes suddenly had some radiance, an incomparably complicated radiance. Give it to me." Su Yu didn't have time to think further. Gritting his teeth, he threw a fruit of life and death to the dazed person. The dazed person quickly swallowed it, and the complicated color in his eyes became more and more intense. In the next moment, his aura exploded, and he was incomparably powerful. Suddenly, he threw a punch toward the Bloodfire Demon King in the sky. His strength was formidable, but there was some color of struggle. He said inaudibly, I am not a human after all. My undead nature will return very soon. Qin Guang, you. Go." The great Qin King was stunned. He looked at him and gritted his teeth. "Go. You are the flag, you can't die. I am already dead. You are The great Qin King roared and punched out again. With a boom, the Blood-Fire Demon King was actually entangled by him. Incomparably powerful. The great Qin King glanced at it and his expression changed slightly. Just as he was about to say something, Suyu gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice, "Give up on resisting. Let's go." Dummy seemed to have barely suppressed the nature of the undead. Otherwise, he could have fought against the Blood-Fire Demon King and the others. Forget it, forget it. Dummy was a dead man anyway. He couldn't be bothered with him anymore. The great Qin King gritted his teeth and didn't resist anymore. Kong 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 heaved a sigh of relief and in an instant, he brought everyone and teleported away. The dazed look in his eyes gradually faded as he madly killed the Blood-Fire Devil King. With a roar, he once again madly charged towards the Blood-Fire Devil King. As for Su Yu and the others, they instantly arrived at the boundary wall. The great Qin King appeared and grabbed Yun Chen, who was in the middle of proving his Tao. When Yun Chen saw that it was the great Qin King, he was stunned but did not resist. Su Yu roared, "How do we enter the boundary wall?" Yun Chen turned around and the boundary wall suddenly opened. Bai Feng's face was dirty as he asked curiously, "You want to come in? Quick, go in." Bai Feng was at a loss and could only open the boundary wall to let them quickly enter. At this moment, Su Yu gritted his teeth. "Go to hell. Mount Tai. Mount Tai. Mount Tai." This time, Su Yu shouted dozens of times in a row. "Rumble. Mount Tai." At this moment, everyone heard that furious roar. It wasn't just Su Yu, but everyone else. On the 7th level, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. In the sky, a human face suddenly appeared. It was filled with hatred, anger, killing intent, and boundless resentment. "Mount Tai. You deserve to die. Rumble." That human face seemed to have seen something. He saw the Prince Gong residence and the lotus flower, and he roared furiously, "Damn it, you're humiliating me." A huge palm descended from the sky. "Mount Tai, you deserve to die. You're humiliating me. You're humiliating a great existence." Everyone who saw this scene deserved to die. As for Su Yu, he quickly drilled into the world wall and roared, "Close it, quick." Bai Feng was stunned as he quickly closed the world wall. Behind the world wall, a group of people were gasping for breath. Even the great Qin King was stunned as he looked at Su Yu. "What the hell, who did you seduce? Who was this?" He was terrifyingly powerful. At this moment, he was afraid. Who was this? It was just a face and an image. He was actually afraid, as if he would be smacked to death at any moment. Even the great Qin King couldn't help but feel his heart tremble. From the outside, he could faintly hear a mournful roar and an unwilling roar. "Tai Shan, where are you?" This angry roar resounded through heaven and earth. "Tai Shan, where are you? You actually used my butt to plant flowers. I'm going to kill your entire family." On the 7th level, heaven and earth were turned upside down. That huge face appeared between heaven and earth. In the next moment, the origin convergence blade appeared, but it was blown down by the huge face in one breath. "Tai Shan, where are you? I'm going to kill you." Rumble. The huge palm swept through heaven and earth. Not a single blade of grass grew on the entire 7th floor. All the mansions were instantly destroyed by him. "Bastard, this is my butt. Who dares to build a house here? P.S. I can't write anymore." This chapter is a little over 12,000. It seems like it's past 12. One can barely fulfill my promise. One won't update it this weekend. I'll see you on Monday. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2690, Chapter 2690, Chapter 573 Dealing with Aftermath L. Chapter 2690, Chapter 573 Dealing with Aftermath L. Tai Shan, where are you? I'm going to kill you. On the seventh floor, the huge face was extremely illusory, but also extremely powerful. Many mansions were razed, and many treasured lands were destroyed. Old Zhou was very angry, very angry. The world collapsed. The few unrivaled experts behind the Blood-Fire Demon King had almost no time to escape and had long been annihilated by the huge palm. At this moment, a dead soul passageway opened up. Dozens of dead souls were trying to run away. Old Zhou's face was illusory as he blew out a gust of wind. Strong gales raged between heaven and earth and blew through the passageway. Dead souls? Old Zhou muttered. He didn't care too much. As the strong gales entered the passageway, some of the dead souls that had already entered were instantly cut into pieces. Old Zhou looked in all directions. Where's Mount Tai? I heard it, I heard Mount Tai's name. Who's calling Mount Tai? Where's Mount Tai? At this moment, Old Zhou suddenly turned his head to look. The little bug that had just been killed had suddenly resurrected. That was the Blood-Fire Demon King. The Blood-Fire Demon King that had 3 bodies and 1 body destroyed had been resurrected once again. It flew toward the 8th floor at the fastest speed. Old Zhou's big face instantly appeared behind him. He chuckled coldly and bit down. Crack! His body shattered and dissipated. A streak of blood light instantly entered the 8th level's entrance. At the 8th level's entrance, a mechanical voice sounded, "Position. Blood-Fire Demon General." Old Zhou didn't move. He seemed to have some doubts as he muttered, 3 bodies as 1 technique. Such a trashy technique, and someone even passed it down. And you can cultivate it to the 9th level of eternity? What a surprise. It wasn't easy to cultivate such a trash cultivation technique to Eternal Realm, but he actually managed to cultivate it to Eternal 9 Dan. Was this the demon race? Why did the demon race cultivate such a trash cultivation technique? Was his aptitude not enough? Or was the inheritance not good enough? Old Zhou was a little doubtful, but it didn't stop him from continuing to blow out. A strong wind blew past, and in the distance, the passageway trembled rapidly. Very quickly, a powerful energy surged out, and a human figure appeared. When he saw Old Zhou's face, the human figure seemed to tremble a bit, and then instantly disappeared. At the same time, with a tearing sound, the entrance to the 8th floor was closed. He's alive. When that person left, he was a bit shocked and shocked. The 8th floor had a guardian. Soon, the 8th floor tunnel disappeared. Old Zhou was a bit suspicious, and a bit confused. Where was that? Mount Tai isn't there. Old Zhou muttered and didn't bother about it anymore. In the tunnel, the last incarnation of the Blood-Fire Demon King was instantly broken. It was swept by the strong wind and instantly shattered. After a long time, only a ball and a drop of blood were left. Gradually, that drop of blood returned to its human form and was reborn with a drop of blood. However, its physical body was as weak as tofu. It was in danger of being destroyed at any moment. The Blood-Fire Demon King's eyes were filled with endless fear and terror. Who was that? Who was that? He was certain that even a half-emperor wasn't that strong, that terrifying, and that even the power of laws couldn't do anything to him. Who was that? An ancient emperor? Or was it something else? On the 7th level, Old Zhou's face continued to wander around, shouting, "Mountain Tai." Where was Mountain Tai? As he wandered around, he saw that the head of the Sky Division, who had gone completely mad, was still beating him up. Old Zhou's eyes were filled with bewilderment as he said, "Conflict between 3 bodies, another 3 bodies as 1, another Eternal 9 Dan. What era was this? Why were all of them cultivating such a trashy cultivation technique to Eternal 9 Dan? If there was no problem with their talent and resources, then why did they cultivate the three bodies as one? And it was a human. A human, actually cultivated the three bodies as one too. Those who cultivated this technique were all trash. To be able to cultivate to Eternal 9 Dan, could they be trash as well? The flaws of this technique were now obvious. Three bodies as one, three bodies as three wills, three unstable bodies, self-conflict, self-destruction. How powerful was old Zhou? Even if it was just a portion of his will recovering, he was able to see through everything in an instant. With a single breath, the three bodies were destroyed, and 3 seas of will appeared on the spot. Old Zhou had a strange expression on his face as he blew out once again, the 3 seas of will merged into one. Old Zhou still wanted to play with it, but he thought of something and muttered, "Mount Tai. PM going to find Mount Tai." He blew out again in one breath and blew the sea of will into the time passage behind the 9-leaf sky lotus. He muttered to himself, "I'm innocent. Yes, I'm innocent. I didn't slaughter the human race. You're innocent of me." He didn't. Mountain Tai had wronged him. If he wanted to punish him, he wouldn't hesitate to do so. Mountain Tai wanted to kill him. Damn Mountain Tai. Old Zhou suddenly felt extremely angry and lost his clarity. As for the Sea of Will of the Sky Division leader, it floated away from the passage of time and headed somewhere unknown. Old Zhou continued to wander around the 7th level. Strong winds swept through the world, and gradually, the 7th level became empty. The Origin Convergence Saber fell to the ground, and the passage of the dead souls was opened. However, there wasn't a single dead soul in the passage. All the dead souls were either destroyed or escaped through the passage. None of them dared to stay. As for he too, he had already forcefully opened the passage of the dead souls and ran away. He had also dragged Dummy along with him. At this moment, the vast 7th floor was extremely desolate and dead silent. Old Zhou wandered around in anger. He looked everywhere but could not find Mount Tai. What about Mount Tai? As for the boundary wall, he didn't look at it. It was his own cell. What was he looking at it for? He searched and probed. Gradually, his willpower calmed down, and his memories became more and more muddled. Old Zhou was unwilling and angry. He roared, "Mount Tai, I will find you. I will.